Y'all, Uncle Shady back with another review. Today I'll be reviewing my buddy Harley, aka Durian Rider. He finally someone stepped up to the plate to debate him. He's been challenging people to debates for years, and no one's actually done it. And so I think this like 12-year-old kid who's trying to become a carnivore influencer coach or something. If you start a carnivore based page on YouTube right now, you'll pretty much immediately get 20,000 followers because that is the agenda right now that the powers that be are pushing. Um, the powers that be who own YouTube also own all the entire meat and dairy industry and the banks and everything and the hospitals. So these people want you to be sick. And they've convinced a new generation that eating meat is good all day long, and high cholesterol is okay, and all these diseases that we're seeing, obesity, heart disease, all this stuff is actually sugar's fault. So we're gonna see what this kid has to say. I don't know. He was very smart to want to debate Harley because Harley's a very, very much a wealth of knowledge when it comes to sports nutrition, performance dieting, and veganism in general. So we'll see what this dude has to say.
Crippling meat cravings. And while our product can't
Wait, what'd he say?
satisfy those cravings, I'm really excited about the new sponsor for this video, Beyond Burger. No cholesterol, lower in saturated fat, and it's made with plant-based ingredients like brown rice. I know all you vegans out there have absolutely crippling meat cravings.
Okay, well, that's a fallacy. But so that's a big generalization. You can't really say all vegan. It's not an argument to say all vegans anything. Once you say all anyone, it becomes a fallacious argument that isn't an argument. It's just you kind of saying words together that aren't true. So Beyond Burger, Impossible Burger, the vegan food you see at the mainstream supermarkets is mainstream food companies trying to market vegan food to vegans. But if you're a true vegans don't eat anything that was tested on animals, and Beyond Burgers are tested on animals. Impossible Burgers, I think, are tested on animals. So right there, those aren't vegan. He's talking about fad plant-based dieters. But this dude wouldn't know because he's basically 12 years old. And I think he's trying to be funny here. But most vegans don't eat Impossible Burgers. That kind of stuff at best is like good. It's okay. It's good for like new vegans who are having trouble cooking for themselves. Once you go vegan, you pretty much you need to cook a lot. So these like products that are marketed towards vegans that mainstream supermarket sells, they aren't the healthiest things. They're simply a stepping stone for people who are trying to eat more plant-based, and there's nothing really wrong with them. If you go into the supermarket, you'll also see all kinds of meat and dairy products that cause heart disease, obesity, and death at a young age. So I don't, his humor. I see he's trying to be funny, but it's not very
And while
funny.
our product can't satisfy those cravings, we can do a little bit to trick your brain so that it's eating meat and you get some
And even people who do eat this stuff, I would imagine don't eat it every day. So I think a lot of meat eaters think that because they eat hamburgers every day that vegans are eating vegan hamburgers every day, and it's just I would say that's probably the lower percentile of anyone who's plant-based dieting.
temporary relief. So buy the product, code Joey, 10% off. Let's go.
So this should be
All
fun.
right, man. So this should be interesting. I promote a carnivore diet, and you promote a fruit-only diet, high sugar. So
Harley does not. promote a fruit-only diet. So right off the bat, Joey Schwartz here is making a straw man argument, trying to twist what Harley is actually promoting to fit his agenda, because he's obviously prepared for someone who is a frugivore, strictly frugivore or something.
They're just like, let's just start this by you explaining why high sugar is the best diet, and maybe squeeze in why eating animals is not good for humans. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Yeah.
First of all, I just want to say, you cutting out there? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay? You just froze a bit there. First of all, I just want to say congratulations to you for doing a debate with me. All right. I've been doing YouTube for 14 years now, and you are only the second person to say, hey, I disagree with what you're saying, Harley Durinoda. I'll debate you. You're the second person. The other person is Bart K. And I've got over 400 million views on YouTube. So I've got some clout. All right. The people just won't debate because they know, they just want to get smoked. So,
like I said, I don't think this kid realizes, and then the look on his face, he thinks that he's just going to be able to smash Harley. But you'll see. I'd imagine that's not going to happen.
Congratulations, you, Joe. We'll have a bit of banter. I'll burn you, but I appreciate you genuinely to come on here, stepping up and saying, hey, I disagree. This is what I believe. Let's have a debate. So 10 out of 10 straight away.
All right.
I was going to put a hat on because this light's glary as heck. I've got about an hour, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
All right. But you can ask me any questions on any topic. Nothing is off topic with me. Nothing. Right. No matter how controversial it is. As long as it's okay for YouTube rules, it's okay for me.
All right.
So your question was, give me a bit more context to that one.
I just want to know why you think a fruit diet is good for humans. Like, give me everything and let's get into it. Yeah.
All right. Well, by the way, I'm drinking sugar water here, a bit of pea protein.
Okay.
And we do have some fruit down here, fruit and syrup.
Okay.
Some fresh fruit later on. But so why? Bit about my backstory. I'm 45 years of age today. It's morning here in Adelaide, Australia, just sort of working up. And I've done a lot of dietary experiments. Started off when I was about 8. I had a lot of asthma as a kid. And so I'd be in and out of hospital with lung issues and stuff like that. So I was always like trying to work out, why do some days I have asthma really bad and some days I don't? Like, what's going on? And so I started as an 8-year-old, reading my mum's diet books and health books and stuff. And my mum, she was, as most women are in Australia and around the world, into weight loss. So she had plenty of diet books. And these diet books would contradict themselves all the time. You say sugar's bad or sugar's okay, but blah, 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 blah. Just eat meat or Atkins diet. Okay. So I was involved as an 8-year-old, and I would watch my mum's mood swings and weight rebounds and all sorts of stuff. I'm thinking. And so over time, I started to extrapolate the data and work out, okay, if you eat this is what's going to happen. If you avoid that, that's what's going to happen, etc. So eventually I came across vegetarianism, and I was vegetarian for about a week. And then I learned about vegan. And I was like, this makes sense. I'll give it a go. And my lungs just felt better. And then the more I dug down the vegan rabbit hole, deep dive on that one, I was like, damn, there's some big money out here lying to us, trying to keep us fat, sick and tired, and running around with stimulants. So I went with that. And I've done little experiments. I did keto for a couple of days once, just to say I tried it, and my performance was absolutely shit. I had no power on the bike. I was like, yeah, this doesn't work. And I'd also watch my friends do things. That was really good. My close friends would try doing diets like, Atkins diet, aka carnivore, or low carb, or whatever you want to call these things, and different moderations of that. And so I'd watch their performances suffer, and I was like, well, that's a bad idea. I used to do 48-hour sleep deprivation studies where I'd stay awake for 48 hours with no stimulants in the lab, and every 30 minutes I'd have to go to sleep and then wake me up again. And we'd test all the, the brain waves, etc. So just learning things and trying it myself, and then watching my friends succeed or fail. That's how I came to the conclusion that we are obviously carbohydrate creatures, and insufficient carbohydrate is number one cause of most diseases around the world, and definitely most fatigue and mental health issues.
You think a lack of carbohydrates causes disease? It's not anything else. It's a lack. It's like the lack of carbs itself.
That's primary cause. And what happens when you don't?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and assume this is like the first debate this Joey dude's ever done. Also, Yeah.
eat sufficient carbohydrate.
And I keep seeing him looking down. I think he's in a chat. I think he may have live streamed this. But I think he keeps looking at a chat. He keeps looking down, and I see a glint in his eye, like he's looking at a computer. And then, yeah.
Your cortisol's up, right? Sugar lowers cortisol within seconds. All the data supports that. Like if you can test your blood sugar, your blood cortisol levels rather, and we could spike them up with something. Like maybe some if someone puts a gun to your head, or you have a stressful situation, you have an argument with your kids or your boss or road rage or whatever. And then if you dumped in some sugar, white refined sugar, aka sucrose, into your mouth, into your gullet, down your pie hole, your cortisol instantly within seconds start coming down. Okay.
Yeah.
So elevated cortisol.
Yeah. I mean, I don't need to fixate on why fruit is bad. I don't think it's necessary. I think what I would like to simply address is the idea that
what? That's not what Harley was saying. And that was a loaded statement.
only fruit could be a good diet for humans. That's where my issue.
I'm more into debating. So I'm looking at the arguments more than what's being said. And Harley's not the greatest debater, but he's a wealth of knowledge. But I'm looking at who has the best argument right now.
Issues, and I think that's
who's using the most non-fallacious
issue that a
argument.
lot of people have with you, that it can be only fruit as a replacement for all other foods. I think that's completely ridiculous. I mean,
Again, straw man. Harley doesn't say everyone should be only frugivores.
you're missing so many essential nutrients that I'm sure people will tell you this all the time. I'm wondering how you address that.
Appealing to the crowd is not an argument. I'm sure people tell you this all the time is not an argument or proof of anything.
Because there's variation in the rate at which people deplete their nutrient stores, right? Like some people can last much longer on low vitamin A or B12 versus someone like you who's done this for, I think, 18 years, you said, can probably last longer in on very little amounts of nutrients, which is just a difference in genetics. Because we see fruitarians fail time and time again. Like they all fail. I mean, what do you...
Double fallacies there. They all fail. That's not true. And it's not an argument. And we see frugivores fail time and time again. Not necessarily an argument. And is it an intelligent position to take to only look at negative? You know, while you're interviewing a man who's had great success being vegan, wouldn't you be interested in what he has to say versus only simply pulling out these failed fad plant-based dieters? I don't look to failures. I don't look to people who fail at things solely for my information. I look at both sides. So seems a little bit funny that, you know, to just think that in an argument you can just, everyone fails at being frugivores when there's hundreds of thousands of frugivores that are successful, maybe millions. I don't know. It's not the easiest diet, but you can do it.
Attribute that to
Eating disorders.
Yeah.
I don't.
Come on, man.
personally.
Like it's everyone though. Like they all fail. They all fail.
Yeah.
They all fail. They all fail. Fallacy, not an argument. If this guy is going to be a mouthpiece for the carnivore diet movement, he needs to learn how to, debate. He looks like he's probably still in high school. He should really go take a debate class.
That's not.
Because it'll make his YouTube far more educational and tolerable to watch.
No, that all fail. Like, do I promote 100% fruit diet? No. First of all, I don't promote 100% fruit diet. I promote a lot of fruit.
Thank you.
Enough fruit. Okay. Fruit's just like our natural diet, but we don't live in the jungle anymore. You know, quality fruit's quite hard to get. The fruit today is grown with very, very little sugar. They select the varieties that are hard and ship easy. They don't select the varieties that have high sugar, high nutrient density. High Brix value. The higher the sugar in the fruit, that's called Brix, the higher the nutrient. Okay, that's why the animals in the forest that eat the high Brix value fruit are more sugar. They breed more. They have better health. So we don't live in the jungle anymore. So I recommend sugars like cane sugar, sucrose, fruit, and starches, not just fruit. And the people who eat just fruit are typically people who don't drink water as well. Their teeth fall out of their head from dehydration because they go to bed at night time.
Arley's using a blanketing statement here, which isn't the greatest argument. But what he's saying is most frugivores have an eating disorder. It's not really what Joey's saying is true. It's not very, it's not the easiest diet to be successful with. And a lot of these people who are like obsessed with only eating fruit, they're just like, it's just like someone who's obsessed with not eating and like, anemia, bulimia or not, or, anorexia is what I'm saying. Anorexics who don't eat enough. It's the same type of disordered eating. And it's not right. And these people also think that you should only get water through fruit and not actually drink tap water or anything like that. And that is a very extreme. That is a very low percentile of people who are frugivores. Because there are plenty of not crazy frugivores. So I don't think this is the greatest argument for Harley to use, but yeah.
With a dry mouth, all right? And we know with meth addicts, crack addicts, the main reason they lose all their teeth is because of...
Tooth decay comes from disordered eating. It doesn't come from sugar. Sugar is a neutral. It's not a acid. So we've been taught all our lives by toothpaste companies and dentists who, for the most part, are just as bad as chiropractors, which how much bullshit they dump on their clients. So, we got this stuck in our head because our society's been raised sugar phobic that sugar rots your teeth when it absolutely doesn't. Sugar comes from malnutrition, not eating the right diet. Your body doesn't have enough enzymes and energy to fight off bacteria eating your teeth. It has nothing to do with sugar.
A dry mouth because the saliva production is so little. So you have the fruitarian who doesn't drink water. They go to bed with a dry mouth. Their teeth last maybe a couple of years and they get massive decay. And then they fall out of their head. Well, it's lack of minerals. No, it's lack of dental hygiene and lack of water. Okay. These fruitarian.
I thought you lost your teeth though. No,
I don't have. I've got a couple of teeth that I had cracked and I had removed and implants put in. I've got crowns.
Okay. All right.
Same in Los Angeles. Like all your celebrities have crowns. 99% of them have crowns. I didn't lose my teeth because I was a fruitarian, but people talk all sorts of shit on the internet. You lost your teeth. You did that. That's the bullshit people come up with. All right. Okay, I have my teeth. I have crowns on top.
I don't know.
For perfect smile. If you look at my old videos, my teeth were buck. I was wearing bucks because I didn't have braces as a kid. My teeth were wearing out over time. So crowns, boom, instant smile.
I feel like you're kind of inconsistent though, because like at the start, you mentioned how they want to keep us fat and sick and all that. It's like they for sure do. They want to give us addictive foods. Like I'm with you on a lot of things when it comes to unnatural products and stuff like that. Like I'm with you there, but when you say that they're not trying to breed at high sugar fruits, like that simply makes no sense at all because sugar tastes better to people. Why wouldn't they want to breed high sugar fruits? And not just that, there's another inconsistency, something that makes no sense. You're saying that a fruit diet is
Harley already answered that question. So clearly this kid's not thinking. Fruit companies pick fruit off the plant early. So by the time it gets to the store, it's close to being ripe or possibly ripe or overripe. They don't pick it to, at the time, like if you go up to a tree and pick a ripe fruit off the ground that's fallen off in the last day, it's the best fruit you've ever had. If you take off the ones that they take off, when they ship it, it just tastes like nothing. And then the sugars don't have a time to mature in the sun. So this kid doesn't know what he's talking about because he's 12 years old.
The natural human diet. Like, explain how we're natural frugivores. Do you really believe that humans are natural frugivores?
Yes. Look at our teeth and our intestines and all that stuff.
So we're sugivores, starchivores, and frugivores.
How is that possible though? Because in nature, that wouldn't have been possible. I mean, I'm sure you can agree with that. that it's possible to eat only fruit?
Well, you got two questions there. The first question is, you think that the fruit today is grown for sugar content? That's absolute. Dude, the fruit today tastes like shit, man. Like, I'm a fruit. Like, I'll be one of the top 5 people in the world that I'm in the online community who understands what good fruit tastes like.
Harley literally has like 100 videos testing fruit, like taste testing. Like,
I've got money. I can go into any shop and buy the whole freaking shop of fruit. But
this kid has no idea what he's talking about and doesn't understand that he needs to go spend a couple days on someone's YouTube before he debates them so he can actually gather an argument and find out what the person actually believes.
In the garden, in the compost bin. It just does.
These are all things you have to do in a debate. I don't know. This kid looks like he's in high school, but maybe he missed debate class.
It's like pesticide, Vaseline, and DDT. Right? It tastes rubbish, man. So you need to, if you're a fruitarian out there, girls, you need to add sugar to your fruit or you're going to fail. You're going to fail on a fruitarian diet. You're going to have lack of calories overall. You're going to absolutely fail. That's why I'm fit and look good and I have incredible fitness. Okay. The looking good people, you look good. But my fitness is up there, man. Okay. I would destroy you in a fitness test. And how old are you, Joe?
I'm 19.
19, all right? So I'm your dad's age,
my
bro.
God.
I'm older than your dad. So
The fuck is this kid doing coaching people at 19?
but my fitness is like, all these people have a vegan diet's bad. I'm like, let's do a fucking running test. Let's do a bike test, man. Let's do a weights test. Who can bench press 1,000 kilos first, all right, with reps. So I'll destroy all these.
That's fine, and I hear you talk about that a lot. Like whenever you get counter arguments, that's what you say. You're like, look at me. Well, let's look at fruitarians. I mean, here's my problem, right? You can say that they have eating disorders and that they have issues, but I consistently see them all fail, and I consistently see people.
I consistently see them all fail. This is a fallacious statement. This statement is completely worthless in a debate. This dude doesn't know what he's talking about, doesn't know how to discuss factually or debate in the least bit. There are rules to debate. Like, you can't have a debate with someone and get anywhere if you don't follow the rules. So clearly Joey isn't interested in debating. He's just interested in maybe getting some content of him taking the piss out of a vegan, and because the people he's playing to like things like that. They're very simple.
On Reddit, on YouTube, talking about how they did your program and it fucked them up, and now they're going to keto carnivore diets instead. So like that,
How come he doesn't have evidence for any of this stuff? I've never seen a video of anyone saying that they got on Harley's protocol and then talked shit about it. I haven't seen that. If there is, these people failed. Like, people have incentive to talk shit about diets they failed on because they failed on them. They didn't have the willpower to properly do the diet.
the trend that we're seeing. It's like they leave fruitarianism and they go to animal-based diets.
Where are all these fruitarians? I don't know any fruitarians. I've been vegan off and on since the 90s. Since 1994. I've been vegan, I've been vegetarian, I've been pescatarian, I've been full-on carnivore for a long time, 10 years. And I can't tell you. I may have met 3 fruitarians this whole time. It's kind of like the trans debate. It's like everyone's talking about it, yet I haven't met many trans people in my life. You know, like, I don't think there are that many out there enough to where it's so much of an issue that, like, these dudes make tons of money on YouTube talking about this stuff year in and year out. It's the same type of thing.
Nobody goes from animal-based to try your diet. Like,
what? Anyone who goes vegan is going from eating animal-based, most likely. The standard American diet is an animal-based diet. Anyone who goes vegan from there is going from, like, what is this? It's like this kid doesn't understand the words that are coming out of his mouth. He just wants to say a bunch of things he's seen his carnivore friends say to people. or repeat things his carnivore friends have told. These guys all talk to each other and say the things that they've said to people, and as if that was like some end all be all, like they pwn these guys. And so when they get in front of someone who knows what they're talking about, they just look real silly.
I guarantee that.
Yes, they do.
No way. There's no way,
Okay.
man.
There's no way people go from plant-based to go vegan. What? I grew up vegetarian. I went vegan in 94. 94 to like 2004, I think I was vegan. Then I was on the standard American diet. Then I went carnivore and then went back vegan again. So my existence alone, and I'm on Durian Rider's protocol, my existence alone debunks that statement he just made. Like this kid, like Harley's laughing at this guy because this guy's not making any sense. And Harley's not even really debating this guy. He's discussing, and it's more of a discussion than a debate, a strict debate. So, I'd love to see Joey Schwartz go debate vegan gains and try and get away with this shit. Because Harley's letting him get away with a lot of like blanketing false statements and fallacies. But that's just not Harley's way of doing things.
First of all, I want to say I think we should do follow-up of these debates because we've got a lot of questions. We're going everywhere, which is fine. It'll settle down. But we should do more of these debates. But Reddit, man, Reddit's like, who are these people? I can get on Reddit and make up some bullshit. Justin Bieber raped me and now got his baby from aliens. Like, you can.
Joey's making these faces. People lie. Humans lie. Humans especially lie when they fail at something because they want to cover up the fact that they aren't perfect or they aren't who they're portraying themselves. So when a plant-based fad dieter claims they're vegan and then stops and then shits on veganism, they were never even vegan to begin with, let alone were they successful at it. So going to only the failures, I'd imagine, I haven't looked at this kid's page, but I'd imagine his page is full of facts that come from failures, vegan failures. And if you can't stay consistent with something long enough, you're not giving it a good chance. And Joey Schwartz doesn't even understand that there's a big difference between veganism and the plant-based diet. They're two completely different things. Veganism is a lifestyle. The plant-based diet is, these people that Joey thinks are eating Impossible Burgers all day and stuff like that. Those are plant-based fad dieters that think they're going vegan for the animals or think they're going vegan because they just think going vegan is going to make them skinny, and it doesn't. The type of food you eat dictates whether or not you're a healthy vegan or not. I've been the most unhealthiest I've been in my life and the healthiest I've been in my life. Both were when I was vegan. So the fact that this dude Joey thinks it's just black and white, that just veganism is a standard diet that every vegan eats, and we have all this evidence because every vegan eats exactly the same way. It's complete garbage. And this guy thinks he's debating. He's completely fooling himself.
You can say any shit you want on Reddit, man. I did Drew Nider's program and now 900 pounds. Like, it's like, go for real world shit, man. Right? Blood tests, fitness tests, etc.
Nobody
Don't
says
believe
that
everything on the internet.
your diet, the way you propose people should eat, makes them lean. Low fat diets, low fat, super high carb. Of course, of course it does. Of course it leans you out.
Being Arnold Schwarzenegger is not natural. Spending half of your life working out, lifting weights, to go about your life where you don't lift anything heavy is pointless. Unless there's a point to having all that weight, having all those muscles, aside from aesthetics. I understand we've been brainwashed to think highly muscular people are attractive. But if you take that away, there's no point to having that kind of physique, and being lean and having cardio is pretty important if you want to sustain in life and survive life. You have to have carbs. You can't do it without carbs. That's what's funny. And we have this 12-year-old kid telling two 45-year-olds with more experience than he's been alive. Me and Harley have been vegan longer than this kid has been alive. Way longer. And this kid, who's probably been carnivore for 6 months, trying to be an influencer, trying to tell people about this diet, you have to understand why that's really funny to me and Harley. Being 40, we're almost the same age. We're like a couple months off from each other. 45 years old, and in the primes of our lives, and we're being talked down to by a 12-year-old with no life experience.
But being lean is not the only marker for good health. Like, these people are failing. I mean, I see that all the time. They're failing. For you to say it's all eating disorders, that's just
you're the one who brought up the word lean, bro.
It's not a fair representation of the diet. It's absolutely terrible.
It is.
There's no way.
It's orthorexia. You got to remember, man. I've been 19. All right? I understand what it's like to be 19 and fresh on the scene. And it's good that you're into health and all this stuff at early age. It's fantastic. But I'm 45. I've traveled the world every single day. Every single day, people say, "Hey, Harley, doing right? I just want to blah, 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 say a selfie," or they give me their number, or they just want to tell me a story or whatever. Every single day around the world, New York, Thailand, LA, Australia, Melbourne, Sydney, all around the world, people stop me. That's how many people have reached out there. And I hear the stories, or I see the blood tests. I coach people every single day as a living, as a profession. So I know exactly what's going on out there. My finger isn't on the pulse. My finger's grabbing the pulse. The arterial, section of the orthorexia out there in this vegan fruitarian world is insane, man. 99.9% of people get into veganism and especially fruitarianism have a level of eating disorder where weight loss is their primary goal. They don't care about blood tests or health. They just, I want to get skinny, which is sort of cool, but you look after your health. I mean, being lean is part of health, but you got to look at your blood biomarkers. You got to get enough nutrition. You got to get enough sleep and sunshine and sport.
Okay, so
fail, man.
Okay, so well, I know you like to do this a lot. Like, you like to bring up your own personal experiences and how everyone comes up to you. I mean, you always do it. I've seen like a couple of your debates, like, and stuff, and that's fine. But I guess the thing
Harley doesn't have other debates.
That kind of confused me about what you're saying, where they all get eating disorders, is that, well, if they're getting an eating disorder, you said not I quote, you said 99.9% of them, whatever, have
they're getting a eating disorder. They are disordered eating. Eating disorders. I think this guy thinks that you get an eating he's gonna try and say you get eating disorders by being vegan, and that's factually incorrect. Disordered eating is a mental thing. If you leave the house at 18 years old and you go move into your own apartment and you have to feed yourself, like most kids Joey's age don't know how to feed themselves once they leave the house. I'd imagine, Joey eats quite a bit, has, his school, he goes to school, they feed him, his mom feeds him. Once he leaves the house, he's not going to know how to feed himself very well. We're all young, unless you're like really, really, really health conscious. You're not going to know how to feed yourself. You're going to eat like your parents ate, and maybe a slightly different. So it's pretty fun. This is a crack up.
Eating disorders. Okay, fine. Did all 99.9% of them have eating disorders before starting your diet, or did your diet enable the eating disorder? That seems to me the much more plausible scenario. You're encouraging a way of eating.
Like, I grew up in Hollywood, right? Like, I was in a band, I was a rock star. Half the 3/4, 90% of the girls I dated had eating disorders. They didn't know it, but it's because in Hollywood, it's a very superficial place. People want to be skinny and be attractive. And the only way the girls I grew up knew how to do that was by not eating. And that's called disordered eating. When I was vegan, when I was in my teens and early 20s, I had a eating disorder. I ate only soy. This was the early 90s. There were no vegan products. There were no vegan restaurants. There wasn't millions of vegan recipes out there. the only stuff offered was soy, and so I lived off of soy, and that was the most unhealthiest I've ever been in my life. Several years of basically living off of soy meat, texture vegetable protein, and soy, not knowing that I was allergic to soy. Most people are allergic to soy. I don't touch the shit now. So, you know, it's disordered eating. You don't get eating disorders from diets. You get an eating disorder by how you eat and how much you eat and what you eat.
That promotes basically an ultra restrictive, ultra garbage diet where they're nutrient deficient, and so they become obsessive about food. It's
ultra restrictive. I eat anything I want, as much of it as I want. If I want to eat all day, I can. Like, all I hear from these carnivores and ketos is them complaining about how they have to eat meat all the time. And how when they mess up, they're super guilty and they feel terrible about themselves emotionally. Like,
your eating disorder, terrible relationship with food. That makes sense.
This dude is the king of loaded questions and loaded statements. He needs to go on YouTube and watch How to Win a Debate. And, you know, just to not make himself look silly when he comes up here trying to say he's debating people or he destroyed someone or someone embarrassed themselves on his page. You know, like, he needs to learn that there's things called fallacies that you can't use in a debate. And if you do use them, you lost.
That is half true in that my lifestyle, my protocols are ultra restrictive because they're performance focused. And if you want performance in life, you have to restrict certain things. But in terms of, I think you said garbage or lack of nutrition, like, nobody doing my protocols has any nutrient deficiencies. No one, nobody, impossible.
Man,
right?
It's impossible.
If they're in my coaching group, yeah, if they're in my coaching group, and we're running blood tests, we're looking at ferritins and all sorts of things and hormones and B12 and CRP and, you know, liver enzymes. We're running all these tests, and we're going, okay, that's low, bring it up. This is too high, bring it down. You know, like, people in my coaching group are chasing performance. All right, a lot of them are chasing weight loss, but I teach people performance, man. When you focus on performance, power output in the bike, or 5K running times, or bench press, or whatever, then you start to get a lot healthier. You can perform. Like, the animal in nature who can't perform gets eaten today by the predator. Okay, so do we want to be the predator or do we want to be the prey? You know, obviously we don't live in the jungle, but I'm just a bit of an analogy there for, like, focus on.
Harley's protocols took me from being, I couldn't ride my bike. 4 miles was long to me when I first started cycling. Within 6 months, I was riding 100 miles and like 5, 6, 7,000 feet of elevation. Like, within 6 months on Harley's protocols, high carb, low fat, low protein. I'm in the best shape of my life. I have cardio for days. My body weight doesn't fluctuate like it did the previous 40 years of my life. Constantly going up and down because I have a high metabolism. But I'm getting older, so it's slowing down a bit. So I constantly go from being too skinny to too heavy, too skinny, too heavy as a, eating a standard American diet, or even when I, just half-ass vegan, it's just up and down. But since I got on Harley's protocols, it's a completely different story.
Performance. I guarantee you, Joey, if I coached you for athletic performance, you would be the fittest person in your family ever. And if you coached me, man, my performance would be shit. I would lose so much fitness if I did your protocols. Do you do any sport? You run track or what?
I play soccer and I used to run track.
Yeah, well, do you 5K or mile or what?
No, I did sprints. I did 400. 400, 200.
So if you had to do a mile today,
Typical carnivore.
Say you weren't injured or whatever. If you had to do a mile today for $1 million,
no cardio and eating meat all day.
How fast could you run a mile on the track?
5:30. I'm not very fast. Probably 5:30.
So you're pretty slow. So I mean, but again, that's a lot faster than the average person. Like 5:30s was like, compared to the average person who's going to do it in 10 minutes, maybe 5:30 is pretty good. All right. So I'm like a 4:47. with
Well,
hardly any training.
yeah. Well, here's the thing.
Double your age.
Yeah.
So who's going to win? If the tiger's chasing me and you in the jungle, who's going to be tiger lunch? You.
It's funny that this is your like.
Who's going to be lunch for the
tactic.
carnivore?
Well,
Who's going to be lunch for the carnivore?
This kid's realizing this isn't going the way he thought. Harley's kind of like he's too charismatic, you know, and then he's got the whole fair dinkum Australian thing that just like Americans just love her. And it's like it's he's a funny dude. You have to admit he's a funny dude, whether you're vegan or not. The dude's funny. And he's a lot more funny than this Joey guy.
45
Who has to try and do skits to be funny.
year old, the 19-year-old freshman.
It's funny how
Bad skits.
this is your debate tactic. It's really funny.
You are debating, bro. You use nothing but non sequiturs and appeals to authority and appeals to tradition and appeals to the crowd. It's actually it's not even appeals to authority because authority is telling you to eat meat. Like it's appeals to Joe Rogan. Like it's appeal to the crowd. All his friends, you know, all the message boards you go on, they're all saying the same stuff. They're all groupthink, cult of Rogan, cult of Joe Rogan, groupthink, cult of personality. And this dude's like, oh, I'm debating Durian Rider right now. Yeah, right.
Yeah, well,
Durian Rider's laughing at you.
Here's the thing though. The ability to run fast or cycle for a very long time, right? Sure, fine. Is not a marker for good health.
Excuse me? What would be a better marker for good health than being able to endure life longer than everyone else? Wouldn't that be like the most perfect marker for health that we have access to? Enduring life. Like, living life long and in our prime, that's how you gauge health, right? And if someone's honing their body to endure life more, that's probably meaning they're healthier than you. Like he said, if we're all carnivores and we're supposed to be fighting animals and eating them in you know, like if we're all primal and we're fighting animals, how are you going to win if you don't have enough carbs to fight the animals? Like, this is where these people are so off, and it's so funny. Like, they think they have cardio. They think they can beat people who eat. But then you'll get carnivores to admit, okay, well, yeah, on race day you need carbs. You need to eat some carbs if you're going to be in a race. So you're agreeing that carbs are necessary for the human to reach full human potential, and they're always gone. They have nothing because they don't actually engage with the other people who diet. They have groupthink. They all get together on Joey Schwartz's page in the comments and repeat things that they keep hearing each other say. All the same BS. It's no matter how many times, like, I'll be asked questions by carnivores and I'll answer them, and they'll ask me the same question again the next day. You know, they just don't listen because they're not listenable, they're not teachable, and they aren't looking for the truth. They're just looking to stick up for their group.
And I've actually seen a lot of people who do your program, and for a short period of time, they end up getting very, very lean, and so they can go much further, and so they get that benefit. But I've also seen a lot of people who do your program. I've actually done, like, I've been following you for a pretty long time. Like, when I got into Carnivore, I was looking at a lot of your stuff because I was very interested in plant-based diet.
You followed him for a very long time, and you think he's promoting an only fruit diet? And you say you've seen him in other debates? Those are two things that aren't true. Harley should be busting you on all this stuff, but he's being very nice.
I quickly neglected it because I realized it was bullshit, but I was into it for a period of time. And what I find is that people start...
That's what everyone said. Every single carnivore person used to be vegan.
...diet, and they do well for some time, because they're coming from a standard one, and then it absolutely destroys them. They run out of nutrients. Their nutrient stores are completely depleted. So sure, it also you're on testosterone. So like I don't know. We don't know how that's affecting.
Harley tells everyone he's on it, and he's on it sometimes, and he's off it for years and years and years and years. Like
your performance
Lots
or
of testosterone.
yeah.
lots.
Yeah.
It,
I mean,
it
clearly,
does make
yeah.
me run slower because I'm extra muscular. You know, like if I want to run fast, I'd have to get off test, lose the muscle, and then boom.
This kid's arguments go nowhere that help him.
I could run like a 2:25 marathon if I trained for it, for sure.
Really?
But in terms of, yeah, if I trained up for it, I did 2:47 marathon on 10 miles a week. So if I trained up for a marathon, 2:27, 2:28, I could definitely do that.
Well, here's the thing.
See, he's impressed by that because you can't do that on carnivore. You need carbs to do a marathon.
But I'd have
Okay,
to stop
so
taking steroids.
okay,
There
so
are no people winning marathons on keto.
so when you run, when you run, are you like taking sugar packets as you go, or are you fat?
Are you paying attention to this guy? He just showed you that he's drinking sugar water. Of course, on a race or a run, he's drinking sugar
fat
water.
adapted? Like, how does that work for you?
And fat adapted is a myth. Actually, no, it's not. Fat adapted people do a marathon in 5 hours
Yeah.
or 6 hours versus 2 hours.
Okay,
You know,
so
like,
so what are you doing? Are you like taking sugar as you go?
if you're doing a marathon, you got to take in at least 100 grams of sugar per hour. Otherwise, you're going to go into ketosis and flop around. But in terms of what nutrients do people get deficient in on my diet? First of all, it's not a diet; it's a whole lifestyle. But let's just focus on the diet part.
Oh, there's so many. I mean, like there's so many studies showing what nutrients.
Where's
vegans
my
are more
nutrient
deficient
deficiency?
in.
Where's my nutrient deficiency?
It's not relevant because there's variation in the rate at which you deplete nutrients. So it's completely irrelevant what you're going through. Like you can't use your own personal experience with veganism to extrapolate results for everyone else. It simply doesn't work. Like you can't do that. When
But
we have studies
that's what you're doing, Joey.
that vegans have higher rates of like
You're making Blake, and you're calling him out, but you're doing the same thing. You've done it far more than him, and you've already been talking about people who project. So, like, how much of projecting is that?
total fractures when compared to meat eaters. They have higher rates of them. No, you want me to send you the study? Like you could laugh.
I've
But,
seen
like,
this stuff.
A study? Let's try metadata, Joey Schwartz. Studies of studies. This is where all these carnivores, there's tons of pro-carnivore studies going on. Most of them done by pro-carnivore corporations. Just because they exist doesn't mean they mean anything scientifically. Meta studies are studies of hundreds of studies. Look at the meta studies around plant-based diets that have been happening for the last 200 years. They all say the same thing, and always have and always will, that it is a better diet than the standard American meat and dairy-based diet across the board.
Studies, man. What vegan?
Until recently, there was a Berkeley
Eating
study.
disorders and vegans who sit on the sofa and eat vegan fish and chips. You know, what
Okay.
about vegan athletes? Do it
Okay,
right.
Yeah, see, Joey's getting frustrated because these arguments are bullshit. Like, they're very easy to pick apart.
Tell me this: why is it that
Or
the
versus
vegans?
junk food vegans.
Why is it
Joey Schwartz thinks all vegans eat Beyond Burgers all day.
that the carnivores are thriving? Like literally, all of them are
Why?
thriving, and
Literally, all of them are thriving, and all vegans are failing. I did a video last week. You should go watch it, Joey Schwartz. It's a carnivore dude who's failing at carnivore. I specifically, me and Harley do videos about people who are failing at carnivore. Liars like fucking Liver King, bro. Like, give me a break. These are the people. These are your homies. These liars who have muscle implants and do steroids and lie to people about it. The carnivore doctor. Just go look at his blood work, bro. You guys hate blood work is like kryptonite to ketos and carnivores. They don't want to talk about it, and that's why this dude's gonna go nowhere with Harley, because Harley lives and breathes this stuff.
and yeah, thriving, and they don't have eating disorders. Versus the vegans that you coach get these serious eating disorders and severe deficiencies. Why is that happening?
What
Well, first of
deficiency
all,
do I have, Joey Schwartz? I'm someone who's been on his protocol for years. I, like Harley, could whoop your ass at any physical challenge, most likely. You're 19, and you think eating meat all day is going to make you a better athlete.
I'm on a carnivore group on Facebook. All right. I'm trolling in the carnivore group. These carnivore people are so undercarb, they can't even tell I'm being sarcastic. Like, they're talking about, oh, I haven't done a shit for 2 weeks. I had a heart attack last week.
Oh
So
my
many
God.
people in the carnivore diet having heart attacks. Right?
Oh,
My
that's
cholesterol's really high. My CRP is really high. I'm insulin. My diabetes is going out of control.
Oh, that's ridiculous. That's just a lie.
It's true.
It's not. No, it's been shown that high carb versus low carb diets, that the low carb diets decrease your CRP, and they also increase your insulin sensitivity. And so heart attacks are associated with seed oils and sugar. Like, they're not associated with meat consumption. We've lowered our meat consumption and have more sugar and have more heart attacks now. Like, you can bring up.
No.
Like, yes, I mean, that's not a dispute. I mean, we've eaten less meat,
very much
more sugar, more seed oils, and we have more heart attacks.
Less meat?
We're eating more meat. Never.
This dude's promoting carnivore diet. The carnivore diet is doubling down on meat. And this dude just said we eat less meat. We eat more meat and less sugar than at any time in history. Sugar phobia has been around since the 80s when I was a kid. My mom raised me on a diet with no sugar, and I used to have hypoglycemic fucking episodes in school because of the lack of sugar, which is something that everyone on carnivore has and deals with. Hypoglycemic fits. We're eating less meat. We are eating less meat, this man just said. This boy just said. We are eating less meat. Promoting the carnivore diet, which is the all meat diet. My Lord.
No, we're not. Yeah,
So
look
we're gonna
at
have to agree and disagree on that one. So
no, it's not a degree. We're eating less meat than we were. It's like,
do you have any blood tests up on YouTube?
no, I need to go get some.
Oh, you don't?
Actually. Yeah.
Oh.
So
I've been doing blood tests on YouTube.
Joey Schwartz, the keto carnivore camaraderie health coach, diet influencer, has yet to get blood taken. He just makes videos talking shit and trying to make funny skits making fun of vegans. But he has absolutely nothing to back it up.
Since 2009.
Yeah, I'll do them. I just don't want.
How old were you when I did my first blood test? How old were you? So 2009. What year were you born?
03.
03. So you were 6. All right. So you were okay. So do your blood tests, all right, and then compare with mine. I read blood tests every single day. Okay, and there's no one doing my protocol who has elevated insulin, elevated CRP, elevated hemoglobin,
Complete opposite.
Hemoglobin, HA1Cs. No one, all the type 1 diabetics use less insulin than ever before. Every single type 2 diabetic who does my protocol
reverse
no longer has type 2 diabetes. They get off the metformin, they
immediately reverse your diabetes
tests. Here's a fact: every single keto, low carb, high fat, carnivore, whatever you want to call it, every single person who does that, they all are insulin resistant. They all will fail a glucose tolerance test.
Yeah, what are you saying? Look,
which means they're diabetic, type 2.
No, listen.
What are you saying?
When you go for eating basically only fat for a very, very long time, your body needs to get used to that glucose response. So after that day, like Ben Bickman has talked about this a million times.
Yeah, exactly. Regurgitating a bunch of shit some other carnivore influencer said.
After that, you taking some glucose, you could do it a couple days later. You will be perfectly insulin sensitive. Yes, you will. I mean,
absolutely not.
You can just say like you won't.
You're blocking the insulin receptors. Like, this kid doesn't know what he's talking about.
Do it.
Fat blocks insulin receptors. You don't get diabetes without a high fat diet. High fat to block the insulin receptors from naturally absorbing insulin. Like, hello.
Just do a little anecdotal experiment. You do it, Joey.
Happy to.
So this kid's done nothing. This kid has no authority on anything whatsoever. You carnivore people should be freaking demanding he takes these videos down. Like, he's not doing you guys any help whatsoever. And it's hilarious because I'm sure the comments are full of people just, oh, you're the greatest, Joey. And this dude's making you the entire movement look ridiculous if you're letting this guy be your influencer.
I could do it, but we've seen it displayed time and time.
Do it. Show up with evidence, bro. Or don't waste your time making the video. You didn't bring any videos of people who said that they tried During Riders protocol and failed and it's awful. You don't bring anything. You just say everyone knows this. It's called an appeal to the crowd, Joey. You can't say something like that in a debate. The crowd can be and often is wrong. So saying everyone knows that, it's a fallacy, bro. It's not something that's allowed in debate. Again, watch a video about debating. Or go to your high school principal and ask him to put you in a debate class. Your YouTube page will be amazing after that.
Again, like you're just like talking, you're just kind of talking nonsense.
That's true, man.
Harley's talking nonsense.
If you're doing carnivore, please.
Ad hominem attack. Like, attack the guy delivering the information instead of attacking the things that he's saying. It's pretty funny. Dude's got nothing but just...
Please go to your doctor, get tested for diabetes, the gold standard test.
Wait, this is important.
You're just kind of talking nonsense.
That's true, man. People out there, if you're doing carnivore, please go to your doctor, get tested for diabetes. The gold standard test for diabetes is the oral glucose tolerance test. Blood sugar, that's not a test for diabetes. It's your insulin resistance is the test for type 2 diabetes. Please go do that test today if you're doing carnivore diet. Diabetes ain't no joke.
Yeah, it's not a joke. You're working with
very serious disease.
Yes. Yeah, you're working with fat people who get skinny, and then that becoming lean
assumptions
comes at
straw man.
Fine, right. And the benefits that you just talked about, lower CRP, more insulin sensitivity, that comes as an extension of fat loss. That doesn't come from the fruit diet. That means that you could put someone on like a other shitty sort of diet, like a cabbage soup diet, and they get lean, they will have those same results. But if you do a carnivore, you're doing it in not a way where you completely destroy your nutrient stores and you actually have stable energy because you're not spiking blood sugar. Like, man, I've never seen you do an interview or a video where you're not chugging sugar water all day or like eating something, because like you need to eat. Right, man. But like, here's the thing. I want to like in the natural diet thing that you said, how we're natural eat starches and fruits and stuff like that. Do you really think that humans could be what we are today if we were spent all of our time doing what you're doing, which is constantly eating?
Humans are hunter-gatherers. If you're talking about if you're going to appeal to nature and tradition and say that when we were primates we did this, therefore I need to do this now, the hunter-gatherers of the time followed the seasons around so they could eat, fruit and nuts and things that were food that the earth was bearing. So to say that, like, this guy's trying to say all humans did was only kill animals back in the day. Like, all this is just, it's like, I'm trying to pick, it's like, it's
not
too funny.
Actually developing as humans. That's what makes no sense. We could have gone and hunted an animal in a day, eaten that animal, and done other activities to develop, or we could have gone roaming around the forest eating fruits and starches. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
And sugarcane.
Sugarcane.
So he just admitted, yes, sugarcane. So obviously he's admitting now, back in the day, we did wander around and eat fruits, but half of this interview he's been saying that back in the day we just ate meat, basically.
Like, you're living in your parents' house, I assume?
For now, I'm leaving in a couple months.
God.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. When I was 17, I was living at home, but I'm just saying, you live in you get your meat from wherever you get it from, Costco or the butcher, or someone else does it for you. You live in a nice house. You're in LA. I lived in Brentwood for a bit there, fantastic area. Maybe you go to Whole Foods. Dude, you're not out there hunting animals with your bare hands.
I'm
right?
about
With a spear.
I'm about to go do that. I'm leaving to Europe. I'm gonna
You're
go
not
hunt
doing
them.
that. And that's
All right,
okay. But I'm
and
just saying, like, we live in this romance of carnivorism that we're.
How about instead of going and killing that animal, Joey, take a debate course so you can actually bring something of value to your viewer instead of just ad hominem and fallacy. Learn how to debate. Come debate me. Come on my show, and I'll explain all this to you. We don't even need to talk about veganism. I'm just trying to help you become a better YouTuber and not, be like the kind of bottom of the barrel where all the like really like irrational people go. And like, you don't want to be the bottom of the barrel. You want to be someone who actually brings good information out. But like repeating all this double speak and carnivore double speak and all this groupthink statements that you guys tell each other isn't really helping anyone, and you don't have proof of any of it, and you're basically being dishonest. And if you stick to debate rules, you're not able to be dishonest. So
we're hunters. Like, we're hunters maybe by survival, but not really by choice. In terms of like,
is that relevant?
Do you know how dangerous it would? Yeah, because it's like
humans can eat meat in emergency situations. That's what it was made for. We can eat anything we want. Obviously, as long as I've been alive, I've seen nothing but, I know it's anecdotal, but I've seen nothing but bad things happen to people, quadruple bypasses, heart disease, heart transplants, heart attacks, and they were eating meat and dairy. They weren't vegan.
If you go to the fruit tree and get the mango off the ground, or the melon, or the whatever's out there, the figs, the wild bananas, etc., or the wild durian, the wild raisins in Australia, the bush raisins, super high in sugar. If you get those, there's no risk. You're not competing with dingoes or crocodiles or lions and hyenas and jaguars and cougars. Right? If you're in the nature and you spear a deer, you can build a spear, which is again you have to make a tool to eat, versus just grab the fruit and eat it, all the grains, and chew them up in their mouth, raw grains, chew them up. The amylase digestive enzymes in their mouth designed for grains, and the sucrase for the cane sugar in the fruits. So we're trying to catch this deer.
Amylase has gone up since we started eating more starches in the last 10,000 years. But yeah, go ahead.
But it's there. It's there for a reason. So it's protease in the proteins of the plant food. So let me just finish quickly. So you go and catch the deer. Right? Let's say you build a tool, a natural diet, but we've got to build a tool to do it. So we build our tool for our natural diet. We spear the deer because we couldn't catch it with our bare hands like a bear could or a cougar could. The deer would kick you in the face, kick you in the nutsack, and just disembowel you. Okay. And so you're eating the deer. Now you got risks of parasites, all these worms and stuff. You got risk of E. coli and bacteria, and you've got the cougars or whatever predatory animal in your nation, your continent is coming for you as competition. Now you got to fight off the freaking cougars and the big cats, all right, and the big dogs. That's dangerous as heck, man. Okay, that's not real world. You'd be shitting yourself. The adrenaline and cortisol.
It's too hard to say. Fair enough, that is a lot more dangerous. The carnivore, attempting to eat meat is very dangerous. Therefore, maybe they didn't do it as much as you think they did back in the day. At least in like California, our natives, you go around to where they used to live and you see holes born in the rocks, and it's from them, grinding nuts and acorns and making patties out of it on the fire, and that's what they ate for thousands of years. That's the only. I know we can find arrowheads and stuff too, but that's just to say that they had a variety. These people are claiming we didn't eat vegetables and fruit back in the day. Like, it's absolutely insane.
The lions are going to come. It's like going spear fishing, man, with sharks in the water. It's insanity.
Yeah. All right. So here's the thing.
Natural.
Yeah.
No,
We do it, but it doesn't make us natural.
It's not natural, even though there's cave
It's not
paintings.
optimum.
There's cave paintings of like humans surrounding this large elephant, and we're stabbing
We
that
did
elephant
it.
to death.
Is there? Where? I'd like to see this cave painting of a bunch of humans stabbing an elephant. And like I said, and like Harley said, sure, that may have happened every once in a while, maybe, but it was out of emergency. We are smart enough now to not have to do that. And we're not living in life or death situations. So these, these concentration camp meat processing facilities, and it's just, you're gonna call that all natural. You're promoting people to eat more of that. Like, that doesn't make any sense logically. But this kid doesn't know logic. He thinks he's debating Durian Rider right now.
We did it, of
For
course.
sure, we did
Look,
it.
look.
We
Here's the
had
thing.
sex with that.
Look at him trying to get him to stop talking because he's realizing now this is not turning out how he thought it was going to be.
Family members. Ancestors.
Look,
Doesn't mean it's good.
I
We
think-
bashed each other. Doesn't mean it's good.
I think I looked at the Hadza, and they
Again,
prefer.
appealing to tradition is not an argument. Just because we've been at war for the last 200 years that this country's been around, should we stay at war just because we've always been at war? Like, does that make any sense? That's not an argument. That's not a debate, Joey Schwartz. Learn how to debate before you waste anyone else's time and continue to mislead thousands of your viewers.
For fruit over meat, but they have like a hierarchy of foods that they prefer. It's like fruit, meat, and then the bottom is vegetables and like crap like that. So yeah, I don't disagree that we would preferentially eat meat. I mean, fruit rather. I think that probably makes sense. If there's a fruit tree or there's an animal, we're probably going for the fruit, right? Like, I think that I agree with you
Definitely.
that.
Not probably. Definitely.
Wow, I'm really surprised he admitted that. I'm gonna use this.
As long as
Okay.
it's right.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. I don't think that existed. I don't think that's realistic. I think that there were plenty of animals that we would have eaten, and there wasn't a lot of fruit. Because here's the thing. I don't know if you looked at fruit.
He's just speculating at this point.
You said
making
what?
things up.
Insects. Grubs.
Insects.
Beetles. Yeah. Do you eat grubs?
No, of course not.
Why not?
Because
That's more of an eco meat.
You could just find them on the ground and they won't kill you. They won't attack you. Like, why wouldn't you eat grubs? Natives ate grubs.
And it's got grubs have all the same nutrition as slaughterhouse steak.
because we've been
There's a lot
eating.
of
Well,
wood grubs or
This dude doesn't even know how brainwashed he is. Tradition is a hell of a thing. Joey Schwartz is learning right now why our society eats meat. It's all out of tradition.
Approaches.
It's all because back in the day, only the rich could afford meat. And so the peasants would see the rich eating meat and be all, oh, look at that. They're so lucky to eat meat. And so they try to emulate that. And we're in peak society, peak awful society, but we're at the point in society where we have all those simple things that only the rich people used to have. So because of that tradition is why we continue to eat meat, and it's not because it's in our natural diet. Clearly, every obese person with heart disease that dies because of the meat and dairy that they're eating.
Crickets.
These dudes try and blame it on seed oils and sugar, but they're lying to themselves. They're lying to their friends. They're not doing anything scientific or friendly to anyone around them by making these videos. Look at all the videos online that are starting to pop up. Look at my video called Ugly Balding Vegan Gets Destroyed by Carnivore Influencer. Watch that video. And tell me everyone on carnivore diet is flourishing.
I haven't studied the nutritional profiles on them. My intuition would tell me that they're
better.
probably not as good. No, I really don't. There's no fat in them, I don't think. So it's just pure protein.
There is.
Are you kidding?
There is
Okay.
fat in there.
All right. Well, I think that we would have eaten fruit preferentially. That's fine. But I don't think that we had access to it because it makes no sense that we would have, given that fruit has been biologically
Don't have access to fruit?
engineered. You could say, "Oh no, fruit used to be so much sweeter." That's completely ridiculous.
It was.
There's no way. You think fruit was sweeter? We have pictures of watermelons and shit, and like watermelons and oranges and apples, what they used to look like. These were tiny, fibrous, dried up things.
Pictures.
What did cows used to look like, bro? Holy crap. This dude is so far up his ass, it's hilarious. Cows used to look like goats. Like, they didn't used to be these big, fat... Oh my god, this guy. This dude.
Not any sugar.
Pictures.
This child has no clue. And is completely being destroyed by Harley here. This guy's completely out of his league. He needs to stop doing YouTube videos, learn how to debate, and start doing real research, open-minded, unbiased, not just getting information from other keto carnivore influencers, because that's all this guy does, and you can see it written all over his face. He has no nuance to any of the things he says. He's just regurgitating things other people have seen because he's too young and has too little life experience to know anything different.
Pictures.
Like, how old are these pictures?
Okay, well, no. Well, like, they're pictures that come as an extension of illustrations from the fruits of that time. I mean, like, it makes no sense intuitively that we would have had such sweet fruit back then. Does that not register with you? That you think we did? Like banana trees hanging in the forest and stuff?
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, the closer you get to volcanic times, the more rich the soil is, therefore the better fruit there is. I lived in Central America. Their fruits and vegetables there are giant because there's volcanoes everywhere, and the topsoil hasn't been eroded off of our plains like it has been here. This kid is clearly his age and has clearly not done any open-minded, unbiased research. It's almost like he's ignored everything that was taught to him in school too, and he's been brainwashed by the cult of Rogan, keto carnivore, BS, sketchy, unhealthy diet pushers.
I used to think the same.
The movement only exists because of groupthink, and these people just echo chambering with each other. They don't try and do any outreach because they can't.
I'm a little bit of botany research, and a lot of native fruits on the continents. In Australia, the highest sugar fruit is the native raisin, right? Bush raisin, and it's like 70 grams of carbs per 100 grams of sort of dried fruit. It's like 70% sugars, carbohydrate by weight, not volume, by weight. So that's really, really high in carbohydrate. And in America, North America, you have the American pawpaws. Do you know what an American pawpaws is? It's a Native American fruit that the Indians really lived on a lot. Plus corn.
You think the Indians lived on fruit?
A lot of fruit. A lot of fruit and a lot of corn. They did, man. Google it up.
Is this kid for real? The natives lived off of anything that was available to them. Because if they didn't eat fruit, they'd die. Because you can't always get meat. And you can't always get meat all the time, too. So you're going to need fruit. And sometimes you can't get fruit. So you're going to need meat. Life or death. That is why we as humans are able to eat meat. For those situations. We don't live in those situations now. Those situations led to low lifespan. We know this, people. Do you want to eat the diet of someone who had a lifespan of 45 years? Not me. I'd be dead now. That doesn't make any sense. This kid's clueless. He's a useful idiot for the meat and dairy industry. And whatever mind control Joe Rogan's putting out there. They want us sick, people.
Has more sugar.
They want us in their hospitals sick. They want all the fruits of our labor to go to them. Vegans and vegetarians and people who are health conscious aren't the ones in and out of the hospital from their 20s on.
Used to, which is absolutely
it's people who eat the standard American diet and meat and dairy. Mostly meat and dairy.
Fruits in Asia, in Australia, and in North America, the American pawpaws, it's P-A, it's like cat paws, pawpaws. It's an incredible fruit. I had one in Australia in a friend's rare fruit farm. Mate, it is so sugary. So sugary. The supermarket fruit that's going now, ugh. You know what I mean? It's rubbish, man. The American pawpaws. You get one of those, or cherimoya. Have you ever had a cherimoya in Santa Barbara? Dude,
No.
you haven't lived yet. Do you know what cherimoya is?
No, I'm just no, I'm not.
Native
Go
American cherimoya, sugar bomb.
So this Joey kid, since he's cool, he's like this cool carnivore guy. He's got to just, I don't know, but vegetables, fucking fruits are stupid. Why would I waste my time learning about fruits? You know, like he's got this ridiculous fake front up that he recently found and adopted from other YouTubers.
That is the fruit, man. You know, so that is insane fruit. So what they do is they get all these high sugar fruits, they suppress them down. So when people want to need a sugar hit, they go and have a Snickers bar. They're going to have some chocolate candy, and what's in that? Full of fat. So to get 500 grams of sugar, all this fat with it. Obesity in the post.
He's not even. That was such an important concept that he just threw at Joey, and Joey didn't even listen to him. And he's looking to the sky. And he's been looking. I've been watching him. He's been looking. He's got a chat going, and half the stuff he's been saying has been stuff coming up in the chat. This dude, Joey Schwartz, is just like Michaela Peterson does the same thing. She does all these podcasts, and she has a chat going, and she waits for people to say things smart, and she repeats it, and she can't nuance any of it, and he's doing the same thing. He can't do shit.
The fat we eat is the fat we wear.
So by design,
the fat we eat is the fat we wear. Man. So true.
Lowering the sugar content of fruit so that we can replace that sugar with other foods that have fat in them, so we can get fat and sick and rely on their drugs. That's right?
Yeah.
Come on, that's crazy. No.
How is that crazy? If you think veganism is being, is that ridiculous?
It's KFC.
No, fruit. Okay, look.
Look how much fat content's in chocolate.
Here's what you got wrong. Look, you're right. Like, they're trying to make us sick. Obviously, that's how they make money. But
they are making it sick, not trying. They are doing it.
Yeah, sure. But fruit is a mechanism by which they're doing it. They are increasing the sugar in fruit.
Bro, the government, if the government wasn't paying for like 90% of the meat you eat, you wouldn't be able to afford it. Government subsidies for meat are insane. It's the most subsidized thing that we come across, dude. So if they want us, the powers that make money off of us being sick, why would they subsidize meat if you think meat is so healthy? How does that make sense, bro? If you think meat is so healthy, why are they paying for your meat? Meat is very expensive. I had goats once. It cost me hundreds of dollars a month to keep those goats alive. Just alive. It's not cheap. Therefore, the government pays for most of it. You probably don't even know that.
And we're eating fruit along with fat. Yeah, of course. Fruit.
The average Australian eats like an orange a month, and we're one of the biggest obesity countries in the world, man. Like, come to Australia, look how much meat we eat. Australians per capita eat more grass-fed meat and dairy. So I think so over 90% of the beef, or is it not? Or 95% of the beef in Australia and dairy is grass-fed.
It's irrelevant. It's like, okay, they cook everything in seed oils. They eat fried garbage. They eat grains. Like, of course, they're suffering an obesity epidemic, as is every other country.
We're big low carbs in Australia. Like, you got, Matt, the carb phobia here is real. The sugar phobia is real. People think I'm crazy for having sugar. Most Australians are like, yep, carbs are bad. More fats, more steak, more meat. I'm obese because genetics.
Instead of making like a more general claim, like, oh, Australia is low carb and they're all suffering, why not just look at what's actually happening? Like, everyone in the carnivore space is thriving. What do you attribute that to? Why is everyone doing so well?
That's not true.
They're not.
Watch my video. Ugly balding vegan gets destroyed by carnivore influencer, and tell me every carnivore is thriving.
Dude, Jordan Peterson's daughter's on a shit ton of antidepressants. She has to fast every second day. She has to do colonics to take a dump.
How do you know that she's constipated? How do you know that she's on antidepressants? Are you just assuming?
She's mentioned it. She's mentioned it in an interview, and her dad as well. Do you know how much drugs her dad takes, Jordan Peterson? He says he feels like absolute garbage. He goes, I feel like shit. but I just eat meat. Don't do this. I feel like junk. Have you heard him say that?
No, I haven't. What I did hear him say on Rogan. Well, what I did hear him say is that in 7 months he lost like 7 pounds a month, and then got very healthy, no more anxiety in the morning, got off antidepressants. That's what I heard.
You need to
just
check
went back to rehab.
You need to check in with your homie, dude. That's not the case. The dude cries at the drop of a hat, bro. Like, the dude is a mess. Like, there was this meme. It's a picture of it's a picture of Liver King and Jordan Peterson, and it says what carnivore dieters say they feel like, and this is what like say that they are, and what they actually are. And it's a picture of pointing at Jordan Peterson, this crying, awful fucking like dude has like serious issues, like in and out of rehab all the time. He's on benzos and all kinds of shit. Like, this kid has no clue what he's talking about. No clue. No clue, Joey Schwartz. You're literally like, did you do any research? If you say you've been following Durian Rider, you'd know dude repeats the same shit all the time, like over and over and over and over again. If you're a debater, you take his same stuff he says all the time and pick it apart. So when he comes and says it, you can bring these points up and have evidence to back it up, not just, oh, someone said this once. Like, dude, come on.
for antidepressant tablets and benzos and shit.
I think
does he look like a happy person to you?
I think that was like in 2018 though. No, he does not look like a happy person because the dude is stressed to the core. Like,
stressed? Dude is a celebrity. He gets paid to talk to freaking retards, basically. Like, the dude gets flown around and is surrounded by yes men. If you think he's stressed to the core, you're fool. He doesn't teach school anymore, dude. He's a celebrity that flies around on private jets. You don't know what you're talking about, bro. Holy shit.
Working all the time. Why?
Because of his high cortisol, because he doesn't have any sugar.
No, because he works his ass off and he writes books and he does speeches all the time.
I'm happy as fuck, man. I get my cock sucked every day. Like, Jordan Peterson, man. Like, he's so stressed. His cortisol is like, he's just so tense, man. He looks so sad.
He's using his brain all day, every day, flying around.
Oh my God. Is he using his brain all day, every day? Is that not what we all do? What the fuck are you talking about, dude? This is like low-hanging fruit at this point. I feel bad for even making this video. I think, like, I don't know. This is embarrassing, and it's such a projection on Joey Schwartz that he says that in the title he says Harley completely embarrasses himself when he embarrassed himself the whole time.
Doing talks, you're getting your dick sucked and riding bikes. So what's it? There's a bit of a difference.
Real life. I give talks, man. I'll put out more content than he's put out for sure. I've got over 7,000 videos on YouTube. I've been doing a lot longer than he has. He looks very sad. Like, he's old. I'm old. We look old, but he looks very, very sad, man. He looks like, I hate to say it, he looks like if he jumped off a bridge today, I wouldn't be surprised. I hope he doesn't. I'm just saying.
Do you think
it wouldn't surprise me if he ended his life today?
Yeah, but I wouldn't attribute that to the diet. Like, he seems.
Yeah, but you just said a bunch of times that everyone on keto and carnivore are thriving physically and mentally.
Oh man,
like,
he's under
his own words. I feel like shit. I'm addicted to drugs, prescription medications.
Okay, whatever.
We like dirt, but I lost weight eating meat.
It's a complete lost cause. It's stupid to debate how Jordan Peterson feels. But I want to ask about something that you
listen to what he said in his recent interviews.
Yeah,
you just
Jordan Peterson rehab drug addict. Jordan Peterson is a drug addict. His own words.
You just mentioned that Michaela Peterson takes stuff so she can shit or like whatever anti-constipation stuff
and laxatives
yeah.
Stuff as well.
Okay. Why do you think carnivore diets cause constipation?
from what I read on the forums and what my friends tell me, yeah, they shit, once a week or once a day or once a fortnight. Depends on the person.
Oh,
But
Once a day. Is once a day bad? Is that too little?
well, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like once a day is like you only shit once a day. I'm shitting like 3, 4, 6 times a day.
Yeah.
I shit like an elephant.
Oh,
You know what I mean? I got a mate who house at our house. He's carbon up. He fucking blocked the drain, man. This dude blocked the drain, man. There was shit fucking flying out of the pipes and shit. Like the dude blocked the drain full of corn and bananas. I was just like people who doing my diet, man. Shit like fucking
supposed to eat shit at least twice a day.
champions, man.
Is that good?
It was good to take a massive dump.
It's
It
very
is.
good.
Look how long our colon and
That's how you don't get colon cancer, bro.
intestines are. You know what I mean? We're not even just shit
Yeah,
like fats.
Burnt meat in your colon sits and putrefies, and you get colon cancer. This is a fact, bro. This is thousands of studies back this up. Not Joe Rogan and your little cult that you're in. This is thousands of studies.
You are working your colon to death. Like that's the thing about meat. It's like 97
Soft fibers.
not 97 to 99%
Fiber's bad, huh?
of it is just absorbed in the small intestine, so it doesn't even make it there. It's just pure nutrition that's purely absorbed. There's no constipation.
Constipation.
It's not constipation.
How often you
it's-
take a dump?
The shit is building up in your stomach. The meat, unprocessed poop, basically. Like food that you've eaten that isn't processed, but it's getting mixed with your poop, sits there in your colon, and your colon is trying to push it out. That's Michaela Peterson with her tummy aches. She's trying to push it out so much that it like burns holes, like chafes holes in the inside of your colon, and you get stomach cancer. This doesn't happen when you shit twice a day. Like, this is a scientific fact backed by thousands of studies. This 12-year-old has no clue what he's doing. He's giving basically medical advice at 12 years old.
Once a day, once a week.
Once every. Okay, I probably go 4 times a week. I'm not constipated.
so-
I shit 4 times a week. I'm not constipated. Even when I was keto, I think I shat more than that. That's insane. And he's not gonna. Wow. If this dude keeps this up, he's gonna be like our soonest person to die from this. Like, that's insane.
That's colon cancer. You're young. You're young, but
look, really absorbed. There's no constipation.
constipation.
It's not constipation.
How often you
it's-
take a dump? Once a day, once a week.
Once every. Okay, I probably go 4 times a week. I'm not constipated.
so that's colon cancer. You're young. You're young, but
look,
that's colon cancer by age 40.
How could it be colon?
Wait, bro,
Look at him. He's covering his face because he's losing. Like, watch this guy's body language this whole time. It's been hilarious going from seeing him how confident he was to now, cowering and laughing, which is a defense mechanism, and covering his eyes.
it's rotting. It's putrefying in your colon, bro.
Look,
Look at the red meat colon cancer.
He knows he has no clue what he's talking about. And he knows now that he's dealing with someone who does quite a bit know what he's talking about. Harley knows. I have more total years vegan than Harley, but he knows way more about the medical stuff around it than I do. That's for sure.
Study. Done by in Australia, actually. CSIRO.
Look at but such a small amount of
what Joe Rogan said.
food actually makes it to the colon because it's all absorbed in the small intestine, and they've shown that.
You're
and they've
backed up as fuck, man.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. If you're shitting 4 times a week, you are backed up. Like, this kid is delusional. Oh my God.
You need to call a plumber, man. Get an excavation going on there.
You think so?
Definitely, man.
All
Like,
right,
dude,
maybe.
it's like, I mean,
Maybe
you're
I do,
19.
yeah.
You're trying shit out. That's cool. You're young and you're experimenting. It's like cool, man. I like we have the banter and stuff, but I am concerned for your health if you continue this. I mean, to me, you're 19, but you do look tired. Like I see the darkness under your eyes. Like, my face is a bit puffy. I see darkness under here.
Yeah,
and that's cortisol, bro.
No,
I'd have that too if I like.
No, listen. I've had that like since very young. I didn't have a very good diet. It's actually gotten better. Like my face has gotten better. It was like that. It was worse. It was
good. You're a good looking dude, but I'm concerned with these under here, man. That's for me. Cortisol issues, adrenaline issues.
No, but it was worse before, is what I'm saying. So it can't be the carnivore diet.
It's still there, dude.
Better now than you should see what it was before. So it's like this is simply not possible.
A lot of people grab. So here's the thing with these types of things. Yes, Joey was eating the standard American diet before and was unhealthy. He switched to the carnivore diet, which eliminated a essential nutrient and started making him basically starve. He's starving his body, but it's a little bit better than just gorging himself on the standard American diet. So he did see some changes in his body, which he took for the better. And so that was all the evidence he needed to think that the carnivore diet is the best diet in the world. And I'd imagine his channel is full of a lot of that garbage, just completely like misdiagnosed, anecdotal, few things, or he didn't see any change and saw things change for the worse because he probably wasn't even. Most of these people cheat. They do it for a while, then they binge eat carbs. They aren't actually honest about it because it's groupthink. It's a bunch of people. They'd be looked down upon if they admit to cheating as much as they do. Like all the keto influencers eat carbs without a doubt. Without a doubt. You can see it in how much you can see it.
But I want to talk. But like also,
but if you're doing my protocols, you wouldn't have that.
Like Joe Rogan isn't keto or carnivore. He eats carbs. You guys all think because once he had the carnivore diet guy on there that he's like a carnivore meathead, and he's not.
19. I mean, 19.
Well, look. Here's the thing, though. I mean, you're what 45?
How's your hair going? Is your hair thinning out from so much fat? Did you dye your hair?
No.
Okay, because in the Instagram picture, look at your hair was sort of like dyed a bit reddish.
No.
Maybe it's the lighting or something. Go lift up your hair. Okay. Okay, it's cool. Yeah, no, you're not receding. Not yet. You're not.
I'm like, right. Like, obviously, I'm not. Look, I've been doing this for 6 months. Like, it wouldn't. Look,
what?
6 months, and you're coaching people like now. That's a good start. You're a good entrepreneur, though. You know, well, but I do. I talk the shit. I talk the banter, but I do.
Wow. 12-year-old with 6 months as a carnivore somehow has 20,000 followers in the carnivore movement.
Appreciate you being on here. You know, I do.
Well, do you think that you look young for 45? Like, do you think that you look?
Here we go. It's like the same progression of everyone on my page. They come and they try and use their facts on me, and that doesn't work. So they immediately try and take shots at my appearance, and it's like, bro,
other 45-year-olds,
you lost.
I don't do any plastic surgery. I got no Botox. Probably go to bed a bit too late, having too much sex and partying and stuff like that. Using steroids is definitely, running high testosterone all year long, high testosterone levels. It definitely has matured my face. Some people say I look like a baseball mitt that was discarded under a deck of bleachers. Whatever. I'd say I look, rough, like a crackhead, or good to some people, or an elite athlete. People ask me if I'm a triathlete or a football player or kickboxer or whatever, or if I just got out of prison. So yeah, I'm happy with how I look.
Do you think that? So, like, have you seen the study on fiber? Like, I want to ask you about fiber because clearly, if you think that carnivores are constipated, you must think that fiber is beneficial for
sending Harley a message right now,
relieving constipation, which I'd love to know more about, because people who are constipated, like they did the study where they took, like, I don't know, 60 to 80 people or something that were constipated, and then when they took out the fiber, they weren't constipated anymore. But when they kept in some fiber, their constipation persisted. So how is that working? Like, how is the lack of fiber causing constipation? How does that make sense?
Great question. I think a lot of these studies are dumb. They leave out a lot of context. You know, is some people on medication that causes constipation? Are people drinking enough water? They get enough activity? You know, are they sneaking foods when they're outside the trial? Like, these things are so vague. I can only speak for experience of myself and the people that I coach. People shit like fucking horses, man. All right. You know, like, I've done a shit before, like as close to 6 foot long. Seriously. Like, if I was on roller skates and as I was taking a dump and just rolled it out, it'd probably be a 6 foot long dump. All right. And that was banana, rice, durian, you know, maybe a dragon fruit in there. But the average dump I do is probably at 3 foot to 4 foot.
Do you need like deodorant and stuff like that?
No. I mean, if I'm eating, so like, if I'm eating more protein, definitely my pits, I can a bit fragrant. But if I'm doing low protein, no deodorant, no stink when you take a dump, etc. But as soon as that protein intake comes up, you're getting more odoriferous going on there.
Okay, because also, and do you fart?
I fart like an like an elephant sometimes, bro. I let it rip.
No,
but and no smell. No smell.
It's like
not all the time.
It's like it's very weird that like you think that's a flex because
I mean farting, man.
I mean since I started eating animal based, like I did meat and fruit for 6 months before going straight pure carnivore. So I've been at this for like some time now. And when I'm just doing only meat, I don't poop very much. When I do, it smells totally fine. It smells like nothing. And I don't fart anymore. I have no more gas, no more bloating. So it doesn't make any sense that you're like praising fiber. No, fiber is the thing that's going to relieve constipation. Fiber is constipation. Like I really don't understand. And you can criticize the studies all you want. Like, oh, the studies weren't good. You don't know what they were doing. It's just an excuse because I think
leave out variables. They leave out variables. Like even the studies that are pro-vegan, I'm like, well, they left out some context, didn't they? You know, so
I just went to this kid's YouTube and asked him to debate, and he sent me his email. So maybe I'll.
Most studies have flaws, unless the people are locked in a prison.
Maybe I'll debate him before I put this video out.
Like with Ansel Keys, etc. Most studies have their flaws.
It's funny though, like
take them with a pinch of salt.
Like
but if you said fiber equals
it's very true. Most studies have flaws, and you'll be shocked once you start actually reading studies how many flaws there are in them. So when your keto or carnivore influences cites a study that was recent, it's not unless it's a meta study, unless it's a study of studies, it really doesn't have much. You know, it's just, okay, well, that happened once under those circumstances. You know, it's like it's a repeated process that's actual science. This isn't science.
Constipation.
This is corporations trying to invent marketing dialogue to sell people BS with, basically.
And how come I'm shitting like an elephant?
Well, you want to give credence to like this empirical observation that people in Australia are on low carb diets and they're all fat and sick, but then you won't actually, then you won't actually give any validity to a randomized control trial that literally controlled all variables except your intake of fiber. And then you're saying, but that's not valid. But the idea that Australia is,
it's valid-ish, but it's not a meta study. It's one study, and it was probably it was probably funded by a corporation that had some sort of agenda behind it. Like, dude, it happens all the time.
On low carb diets and they're fat, this empirical.
But since you're 12 and you haven't read a study in your life, you don't know this.
Generalized claim. That's valid though, right? I mean, come on.
I hear your angle, but again, these studies, they're trying to laser in on one little thing, but there's so many variables that are left out. Like with the vegan fracture thing, what medications were they doing? Was it a bunch of vegans doing meth? What was the body mass index? Are they doing heaps of caffeine? And did they have a history of anorexia? Or were they super light? What were they doing? Or were they doing extreme sports like skating and parkour and doing fractures that way? Like, there's so much context out there. And a lot of these studies are done by meat industry or whatever.
No context coming from anyone from the keto carnivore. It's all no context. Just, vegans die.
To
vegans' teeth rot out.
Which people around go, look at that. If you're a vegan, you're gonna get a bone fracture or some bullshit. So, you know, like if a vegan breaks a leg, it's because they were vegan. If a meat eater breaks a leg, it's because they got hit by a freaking steam train. You know, it's like
I didn't.
Bias
I
is so
don't
real.
necessarily think that, but there is evidence that vegans are more prone to fractures. That's well
I would,
studied.
I would say that's true because the average vegan
Most
diet
vegans
out
aren't
there
that healthy.
today is so deficient in carbohydrate and so heavily
because they're
dependent on.
still scared of carbs and sugar. Because we've all been brainwashed into being scared of carbs and sugar in the last several decades.
Stimulants like caffeine and stuff.
Here's the thing: vegan diets.
But the carnivore, the whole thing is, oh no, we're eating more carbs and sugar, therefore we're getting more obese. When it's like, no, you're eating more meat and less carbs and sugar because we've been brainwashed for decades that carbs and sugar are bad. Like, every other woman with an autoimmune disease has an autoimmune disease because they're sugar phobic.
The reason why a lot of the vegans do bad is because they crave animal fat, and so they mix the fat and the carbs, and they have no protein. They're just eating pure fat and carbs. That's gonna.
I don't crave anything from an animal. These generalizations you use, Joey Schwartz, you really need to. I mean, the fact that you have as many positive comments as you do just shows the average level of intelligence and like nuance and research going on with this movement.
Going to make you fat, of course. Your protocol, you don't get fat. You just get extremely sick, emaciated, and skinny.
I'm not sick. I'm not emaciated. I'm skinny. I could fuck you up at probably anything. Any physical challenge, probably. So, and again, I'm twice your age. So, you know, let's go do a bike ride. Let's go do a hike and see who bails out first. And we'll see who's got the better diet.
So, yeah.
You get protein in plants.
It'd be a really good metric. Because you, with your superior diet and your superior age, being younger, you should run circles around me or Harley, without a doubt. How you describe veganism, we can't even leave our house to go to go do races, but yet me and Harley regularly do races and beat meat eaters half our age. So how is that possible if veganism is so unhealthy, Joey Schwartz? Tell me that in your eternal knowledge of being on this planet 12 years.
Well, it's not usable.
Don't get any protein.
It's not usable. It's like not usable to the degree that animal protein is.
It is
not usable. There's.
Well, then how come? Where do the gorillas get their protein from? And the horses and the cows and the rhinos? Where have I got my protein from? 20 years as a vegan.
Well,
I mean, like,
the first one, the gorillas, the cows. I mean,
all protein on the planet originated from plant protein. There's no such thing as animal protein. That protein in that animal is plant protein. This is science. Hundreds of years of scientific research. Your keto influencer or your keto product company that did a study that tells you different just shows how gullible you are.
You know the answer to that. They have different digestive systems. They can convert they can convert grass to short chain fatty acids and derive 80% of their energy from saturated fat. Humans, we can't do that, so we need to consume the saturated fat itself from animals instead of plants. Instead of converting to short chain fatty acids, we can't really do that with much efficacy.
Humans create saturated fat.
Very small amounts.
Sufficient amounts. Well, fat in our brain, we created that fat.
And that's the amount that we need. Our brains create the amount of fat we need. All this other fat is unnecessary.
Natural herbivores, right? If we're like supposed to,
unless you want to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger or something and have a unnatural physique,
be eating only plants, then we would be like gorillas and convert 80% of the fiber to saturated fatty acids, short chain fatty acids. Instead, we convert like 10%. So we're totally not on the same level as them. We need to eat actual animal fat.
We're not on the same level as gorillas. Like, gorillas are far more active.
Fuel our brains, fuel our bodies.
But the brain runs on sugar, not fat.
It doesn't run off fat.
You said to fuel the brain on fat.
The brain doesn't even know that the brain runs off glucose and muscles run off glucose. Like, because he's been told they run off fat by so many ketards and metards and Joe Rogans and freaking carnivore doctors and all these liars that are on steroids have been. This kid believes all of it, and I'd love to see this kid's physique too. I bet he's a fucking total, who knows?
It doesn't run on fat, it runs on sugar, and the fat in the brain the body makes.
The brain can still use fat, and also the brain
Your brain needs carbs, dude. We can see it. It's showing quite a bit. If
we can satisfy that. We can satisfy that brain requirement with gluconeogenesis. Like that makes way more sense.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. We're turning the fat into sugar. Why not just eat the sugar?
Well, there's actually good reason for that. Why not just eat the sugar instead of letting the protein convert to sugar? The reason is because if you spike your blood sugar, this manifests as diabetes. You basically glycate your whole body, advanced glycation end products. Like eating sugar is not good. It raises your blood sugar. It's very simple. You don't want an elevated blood sugar. Like
you do want elevated blood sugar. You don't want sustained elevated blood sugar, which is insulin resistance, which is caused
by
excess fat, dietary fat. Insulin resistance
blocking your
can never be
insulin
caused by
receptors.
sugar. Sugar cannot block.
Stopping your body from naturally absorbing insulin. Like this kid only has the keto version of the information. He hasn't actually looked up anything independent of anything that's keto or carnivore related.
Glucose, sucrose.
It's so painfully obvious. This dude thought he was going to come here and browbeat Harley with no preparation, no planning, no facts, no links to back up anything he has to say. He just says all vegans are unhealthy, all fruit eaters are retarded. Like these
not block the insulin receptor site. Only dietary fat can do that.
Well, you're
diabetic. I'm
diabetic.
You have diabetes. I bet you would fail an oral glucose tolerance test. Prove me wrong.
If I took one right now, I wouldn't be good. But
fail it. You are diabetic.
Listen, if
you have diabetes,
if I took a diabetes test right now, it wouldn't be good. And for what? What is this kid gaining being on Carnivore outside of a YouTube channel? His eyes aren't as dark as they used to be. That's all I've heard him say. I'm not learning anything from him.
If I ate some fruit,
I bet you do.
How about you just be quiet and let me talk for a sec? Because you said something that you want me to answer.
Be quiet and let me talk. Wow, Harley's been quite polite this whole time, especially with you being quite rude to him, which is, not a very not a very good debate tactic.
If I ate some fruit right now and in a couple days I ate some more fruit and then took the test in 2 days, I would at that point be insulin sensitive. I would at that point.
In a debate, if you're rude to someone, they're likely quicker to get hostile with you. Therefore, more of their information might come out sooner. If it's a trick in debating. If you want to win and sound smarter and put out more information, you don't want to trigger them and make them hostile. You want them to, kind of stay more docile. So starting off by kicking the guy in the nuts isn't the smartest idea. Harley's been very nice to you. But someone like me is just going to make you look really silly really quickly instead of letting you get out what you want.
Point respond to the test. It takes time. Ben Bickman has talked about this. Like I would suggest you look into
some keto influencer, some carnivore influencer talks about this a lot. And you look at the look on his face, he gets so much confidence because he's emulating that guy for a moment. And he's memorized 2 or 3 things that guy said, and that's basically what he's based his whole channel off of, this one guy. And it's pretty funny.
Into it. I mean, there's no way he would change your mind because
you would fail the test today, and you'd fail the test every single time you did it.
Oh my God!
Assuming you stayed on your high-fat diet.
At that point, respond to the test. It takes time. Ben Bickman has talked about this. Like I would suggest you look into it. I mean, there's no way he would change your mind because
you would fail the test today, and you'd fail the test every single time you did it, assuming you stayed on your high-fat diet.
Yes.
Oh my God!
Without a doubt.
I can actually
prove me wrong.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Prove me wrong.
fine. I'm actually I'd be happy to.
Go to doctors and say, I think I've got diabetes. My mum's got diabetes. My dad's got diabetes. White lie. Just so I do the test. Can I please do an oral glucose tolerance test? But no worries, do it, and you'll be surprised. And you'll probably drop your carnivore diet that day because I don't want diabetes. I'm 19. I don't want type 2 diabetes. Why do you stop eating fruit?
Imagine giving yourself type 2 at 19 years old over a YouTube channel and like idolizing the wrong people.
Because that carnivore MD guy, he quit the carnivore diet and now he eats fruit and honey. So he's upped his sugars. He said sugar's bad. Now he's flipped on that, which is good. He's public about it. But why don't you eat fruit again? You should eat fruit. I can't convince you to stop eating meat. That's not my goal. But my goal, dude, carb up, bro. Get your carbs in, man. You're 19. You need carbs, man.
No, why?
Because you look tired, bro, and your brain isn't working that good, clearly. You've had nothing this whole hour long, 46 minutes in, and you've had nothing. Like, did you think you were just going to, like, destroy this guy?
You can live, not just survive, but so you can actually thrive, man.
Right now, I'm working on a bunch of things, and I'm, like, very busy with stuff. I'm very busy right
What are you busy with? You live at home!
now, and what I find is that when I'm not eating fruit, I don't get constant crashes in, like, insulin. I don't feel like I'm low energy ever. I feel like
because you're low energy all the time. When you eat sugar, you get normal energy where you're supposed to be, and then you crash because you stop eating sugar. This is how this works. You aren't getting sugar spikes and then crashing. You're constantly fatigued. And when you eat something that has sugar in it, your body is happy and it makes you feel good for a short amount of time, but then you don't continue it. So you crash back to where you were before. This is real.
You're running on cortisol.
No, I'm not. You don't run on cortisol. And I don't.
You do if you don't have carbs or muscle glycogen.
I can see it in your eyes.
No.
Do you take, how much Adderall do you use a day?
I've never taken Adderall. No, I don't. You don't run on cortisol.
What about Ritalin, or what do you use? What smart drugs do you use?
Oh, yeah, I use
modafinil.
Yeah, a bit of Ritalin. I take some modafinil. Like I usually like to just like mix them, and yeah.
Yeah, it's common, you know. But I think at 19, I don't recommend taking Ritalin and modafinil. You know.
Okay, so
you're a bit young for that.
Should I stop?
I know it's popular in the.
Should I stop?
I would use them very, very rarely, man.
Okay, so I'll.
You know?
Okay, cool. So I won't stop. I'll like cut down on them a bit.
Yeah, like you're 19, man. Like, you know, I use modafinil like a few times a year if I'm writing a book.
So now Joey's making jokes because he doesn't have any good arguments. He has to start trolling and making funny looking faces because he didn't because of his lack of preparation for his debate.
I just want to crank out like a 10-hour day on the keyboard, typing books and stuff. But I use like a 25 milligram quarter of a pill. All right, that shit is strong shit. If you're using stims every day like Ritalin and modafinil, I can speak from personal experience because I've used these drugs. They're powerful, man. They will affect your sleep cycle. And because you're 19, I would say don't use them at all, bro. Because you're still growing. Your brain's still growing. You're still a baby, man. And I don't say that in a condescending way.
I'm totally joking. I've never taken any of that. The only thing that I've done is drink alcohol. I've never done any of that.
Alcohol's pretty much is just as bad.
I want to
Carnivore crew. They smashed the stimulants.
You think so?
Carnivore MD, he's cranking the fucking modafinil and Dexies and shit, man. Really,
you know, I feel like you like to do this a lot. Like you like to sort of project almost the
project. You mean by saying that Harley completely embarrassed himself when you completely embarrassed yourself?
The things that you do unto others, like you always convince you like to say that people are fake natties when you've been proven to be a fake natty, and you like to just convince people.
I've never denied taking steroids. People only know I take steroids because I tell people. I've never ever been out of being a fake natty because I've never have been a fake natty. I've said from 2014, look at my videos in 2014. Hey guys, I'm doing a steroid experiment. I'm taking this amount of testosterone per week, blah, blah, blah. I've never been a fake natty.
Either way, you really do like to project the things that you do onto other people. Like you've experienced it with all these stimulants, and now you think that I do them.
Says the guy ad hominem attacking the guy he had a debate with and projecting in the title of the video. Like, oh my god,
because you
question.
do them. You do them, so that means
Ask the
everyone.
question. I do them very rarely, but I'm
Okay.
transparent about it. That's
Joey thinks Harley like debates people all the time, and he doesn't. Like, he just does his videos. So I don't know where these videos are. Joey's seeing him talking to other people and using these tactics.
what makes me a good coach, because I'm not one of those people who are going to lie to your face about what I do. All right, in terms of stimulants or testosterone, I can speak from personal experience. You know, I'm like, modafinil. What's this modafinil? Why is Dave Asprey running 400 milligrams of modafinil a day? What's modafinil? Let me take 25 milligrams. Holy shit, this stuff's strong.
Is
400 milligram a day? That's insane. That's sad.
Is high LDL dangerous?
Small LDL, yeah, it's more dangerous. It's more your triglyceride to HDL ratio. It's important. You want to have that under 1.5 ideally.
Yeah.
But again, it's you do some blood tests, man. I mean, you're 19, so you can get away with a lot typically, but you can still at risk of cancer and stuff like that.
I don't even want to focus on me though. Like me, I'm doing very, very well with this, much better than I've ever done in my life.
You do better on my protocol. Anyway, let's get back to the fruit thing. Why are you adding the fruit? Because you said you feel bloated. Like, it's normal to feel after a meal like your stomach's going to have more volume. But it's okay if you are after a meal. Like, if you look at every single animal, like when my cat eats meat, its stomach's full. Like, I can tell how much food the cat needs by measuring its stomach.
I feel full, but wait,
it's okay to be bloated after a meal. Like, what does bloated even mean? Like,
well, yeah, no.
Drinking water, your stomach's gonna expand. Like, when I wake up in the morning, I have ripped abs, and by the end of the day, all those abs are gone because I've got water in my system. Okay, and that's okay. But some people, oh my god, my abs are gone. I'm getting fat in the day. And it's like, it's just water.
When I felt bloated, I felt like sluggish. Like, I felt like my stomach was popping out, and I felt fat. Like, but now with meat,
what does that mean?
Meat, bro.
No.
Yeah, it's probably because you're eating meat, and he's like,
well, you just said that eating fruit makes you bloated, and I don't want to be bloated. I'd rather have because here's the thing: meat is so dense. It's so dense in nutrients. You don't have to eat a ton of it. Like the fruit by volume is so much greater than the meat by volume, obviously. So when I eat, right. So when I eat meat, I don't need to eat as much. Therefore,
yes, you do.
My stomach goes out less. I think that's preferable. I mean, I don't want to feel.
To get your daily correct caloric intake, you have to eat a lot of meat. And if you aren't, you're eating a deficit. And if you're deficit eating, you're starving your body and it's not healthy. You may be losing weight, but you're not healthy. You might be getting shredded, but you aren't healthy. And once your body's not healthy, your mind becomes not healthy. And then it's just spirals from there.
Bloated all day. I'd really rather not. I'd rather be full and not bloated.
This is like the weakest argument. Veganism's stupid because I don't want to feel bloated.
Because if you're mixing fruit with meat, or even fruit with oats and rice or whatever, that's going to cause some like food combination issues. I call it a combo, a bombo.
I never did that.
It's very important.
I was very cognizant of this.
I was. What is he talking about? When was this? When he was 6? Is he talking about? He keeps talking about the past as if he's like 30 years old or 40 years old. Like, when did you have all this experience at 19?
When I was doing fruit and meat, I ate meat alone and I ate fruit alone. I did not combine them because I knew that would cause problems.
Okay, gotcha. But you can't have fruit after meat. Let's say you wake up in the morning, you have your bacon and eggs, whatever, your hardtack breakfast. You can't have fruit after that because that stuff's going to be sitting, all that dead animals, the meat and stuff's going to be sitting in your colon. And then you put fruit on top of that. The fruit's going to just broom and push that through. That's where the bloating comes from.
I've already explained that.
You already explained what all your carnivore fucking influencers told you, dude. You didn't explain something from science. That bacon isn't vaporizing the second it hits your stomach. It's sitting there, and then if you eat fruit later on, you are mixing it. You just said...
Meat does not linger in the colon. Meat is absorbed in the small intestine. Very small amounts make it to the colon.
4 times a week, bro.
Exactly. No, exactly.
I shit more a day than you on average.
You are so inconsistent. Like I just said, I
don't think Joey knows what the word inconsistent means. Harley's, if anything, robotically consistent. Go look at his YouTube and skip every year and watch a new one of his videos. He's saying the same shit year after year after year after year after year. I've seen the same Durian Rider video
different versions of the same Durian Rider video probably 65 times. So to say that Harley's being inconsistent when he's come on your show and hasn't been inconsistent at all, this dude, and then to say that he's projecting when that's exactly what you're doing because you don't have confidence because you're fucking 12 years old, bro. You don't know what you're talking about, and that's why you are stooping to all these tactics, and that's why your body language is terrible compared to Harley's.
Little meat in the colon. Therefore, how could it be that fruit going into the colon is somehow hindered by the meat when there's no meat there? There's a tiny amount of material there. You're not making any sense.
There. Do
It's
a
there.
colonoscopy.
So
You have polyps by 22.
I have like just pounds.
Polyps.
I have like pounds of meat just like chilling in my colon. You think?
Yes.
Like tons of meat in there.
Yeah.
Just rotting, just putrefying in there, bro.
No,
Yeah, putrefying in there.
Undigested fecal matter, bro.
not happening. It's not happening.
Undigested
Poop and meat.
fecal matter.
Ah.
No, it's not happening, man.
That's why cats, true carnivores, have such short intestines to like quickly pass through that meat. And humans, that's why colon cancer is going up in Australia.
Why do we because of meat? Why do we have an appendix?
It's a meat, bro.
Why do we have an appendix? A vestigial organ that used to be a large cecum to process plants. Now we don't have that. Why do we have an appendix?
I think Joey's looking at stuff off the chat again.
I've never really studied the appendix much, but from my brief understanding, it would just be as like a bit of a backup option for detoxification, like our tonsils. And when the toxins get too high, then they get stored in the appendix or tonsils, and then they can burn.
So Joey Schwartz joined YouTube May 10th, 2022, and he already has 1.7 million views and 21,000. This is the carnivore movement. This kid doesn't know what he's talking about, and these people are making him famous, and they don't realize that he's not helping them at all. It's pretty funny.
Burst or get inflamed. So I'd say the appendix and the. But again, that's my little theory. I don't put my life on that. That's just yeah. That's something I'm not really clued up on. Like I'm with weight loss, nutrition, and health and stuff like that. The appendix, I've put like maybe 5 minutes in the last 20 years thinking about the appendix, what it's here for. I don't really know. But that's my assumption would be as a little detox chamber to catch overflow a bit like our lymph nodes, etc. That's my opinion.
Okay, well, it's a ridiculous
Very
opinion.
vague one.
Yeah.
I'm open to being wrong on that one. Because I don't really know on that one.
Okay, fine. Well, why did our brains get big and then they got small after the agricultural revolution and we started eating plants? I mean, do you think that our brains got big on meat or
The size of your brain does not dictate how intelligent you are.
carbohydrate?
Not to a certain degree, but not in humans. Obviously, if you were born with a brain the size of a peanut and you're human, you're probably not going to be as smart. But the slight differences that this boy's talking about is not. You don't get more intelligence because you have a slightly heavier brain.
Carbohydrate, of course.
Really? Yeah.
Why did when we feed cows to cows, their brain would get bigger? You know?
What? Because we're not cows. Because we have a digestive system of. We have the physiology of something that's supposed to eat meat. Very clearly,
if meat makes us smarter, why do we call someone a meathead in a condescending way?
What a that's a ridiculous argument.
You know what I mean? It's just like
A meathead. Like,
What? Well, you wouldn't know a ridiculous argument if your life depended on it, Joey Schwartz.
meathead, bro.
Okay,
Like,
what
meathead from Kansas.
if you want to talk about why do we as a society
redneck
attribute
meathead.
a redneck meathead, like what? Okay,
We know that intuitively.
if that
Meat makes you dumb.
if you want to talk about intuition, that's totally fine. We could talk about intuition, right? Because it's like every single old person's advice. You need to eat meat. Every single old person is against
It's such
veganism.
conditioning. It's such dogma, isn't it? Yeah,
Okay,
it's such-
Appeal to the crowd. Appeal to tradition. Like I said, Joey's learning what traditions are today.
Oh my God, you are
you
so
need to eat
inconsistent.
meat or we're going to get protein.
Why, if he's so inconsistent, what is he being inconsistent about? And why do you keep covering your face and smiling and laughing when he says something that you don't have an answer for?
You're going to get protein deficient.
You are
You ain't
so
meat, you're gonna
inconsistent.
die.
Look, you are so inconsistent though, because you bring up this whole meathead argument. Like
Meatheads.
you bring up meatheads. Like we're as a society, like we're calling people meatheads who eat meat, but then you totally you totally disregard the idea that intuition amongst the older population who tell us to eat meat is irrelevant. Like how are you going to be so picky with your logical just assumptions? Like it's absurd
What
just talking
assumptions?
to you about that. It's really weird.
I love cherries. I love cherry picking, but the whole meat thing, it's just a learned behavior. Like you got to eat meat because that's what my grandma did, and that's what the TV said, and that's what Jamie Oliver said, and that's what the fat dude on Robert Lustig said. To
No.
Heart attack grill, heart attack grill in Texas.
Here's what the learned behavior is. That the learned behavior is thinking that killing an animal is not natural and that killing an animal is a problem, and it's weird. That's the learned behavior, the switch that happened. Because you look at natural populations, they kill animals and they feel no resentment. They just kill the animals.
Meat workers have a higher suicide rate than non-meat workers. How do you explain that then? If we just don't care, society doesn't care, how come meat, slaughterhouse workers off themselves? That doesn't make... This dude's just purely making things up and repeating purely non-factual things as if they're facts. And that's all that happens in the cult of Rogan, keto movement, groupthink.
Other crazy shit too. They raped people and had incest.
Do you think the Inuit and the Maasai like rape each other and have incest?
Yeah, they do whatever. It's survival. It's chaos out there. Survival of the jungle. I would eat meat too if I was starving in the desert and it was me or the lizard. I would eat the lizard, but I don't live in the jungle or the desert. I'm not starving. I got rice. I got fruit. I got carbs. I'd eat the grubs. I'd eat
rice in
the
the jungle.
If I had to, for sure.
Rice in the jungle.
Fruit. Plant matter. Cane.
But rice. You think?
Yeah, well, I live in society, I should say. I live in society. I don't live in a starvation world. I don't need to eat animals. And I travel the world a lot, and I see that the consumption of animal products, especially the fish and the beef and the chicken and the pork, is creating an environmental catastrophe out there. We're cutting down the Amazon to grow soy to feed the livestock, and we have to do that because there wouldn't be enough room if we did it grass-fed. In Australia, which is the largest grass-fed production in the world, we have absolutely destroy the Australian rivers, land, topsoil degeneration because of our thirst and desire for grass-fed animal products. So I'm not against people eating animal products. I'm not against people eating animal products. Just eat crickets, eat grubs, do it sustainably. Eating beef isn't sustainable.
You think that what you're doing is good for the environment? You're like eating imported bananas and berries and shit and like sugar from Costa Rica or something. All that goes across the country, kills tons of bees and animals and little rodents and bugs in the process.
Assumption.
And you're the ethical one. I kill a cow. I kill 2 cows a year. You kill thousands of animals.
Kill the cows.
I would kill them myself. No problem. Are you serious?
You'd be like,
I would go to
macho bullshit. Like I'm a killer. I'm like Joe Rogan. I could kill animals. Like, this is so funny. This dude's probably a complete beta in real life, and this is how he gets his masculine like fix, is coming on here and acting and like group thinking with a bunch of other meatheads that think they're like alpha predators.
Yeah, I would shoot it in the head. I would go to an animal pull bow and shoot it. No problem.
You say you would, but you haven't. But what if a cow came up to you and was like, "Hey, give me a massage"? It was rubbing your leg and stuff, and like a dog. Have you ever hung around cows before?
I would shoot it in the head. I swear to you, I would.
Cows before?
Yes.
Have you ever hung around baby cows?
No, not babies. I've been around regular cows, not baby cows. But I have no problem killing an animal.
Friendly cows, tame cows.
It's irrelevant if they're friendly or not. I don't care.
No, I get you. But have you ever hanged out with a cow, like a friendly cow, and give us a chin rub and stuff like that?
I've like pet a cow before. Yeah.
Why would you pet a cow if it's meat? Do you go to the store and pet the meat in the meat section? You pet all the keto products when you go buy them, and you open up the freezer thing and you pet the keto products. If you don't give a shit about animals, why would you pet an animal? That doesn't make any sense.
Stood next
Yeah,
to
but
one.
have you ever laid one on the ground next to one and just like, they're like dogs, man. Cows are like dogs. They're actually a bit smarter than dogs, but
I
they
I
are, man.
I haven't
Would
done
you
all
eat
the
dog meat? Would you eat dogs? Would
yeah.
you shoot a dog in the face for
No, I
food?
would I wouldn't shoot a dog in the face.
Why?
Why not? Millions
know.
of dogs get eaten every day
Animals are meat. We're supposed to eat meat. What's the problem?
for meat.
Yeah,
So
I
that's
don't
social
know.
conditioning, isn't it?
Yeah,
A true carnivore doesn't care what animal it
it's-
is. It's meat.
It's social conditioning because I have dogs. I just
There you
wouldn't
go.
want to do it.
There,
Yeah.
you have dogs. So you're an animal lover.
Well,
Animal
no,
loving ain't shove them in the oven.
I,
Do you
I,
do you care about your dogs?
I'm not ideologically inconsistent because I said that
What did Harley
I-
Do you
say?
do you care about? You're an animal lover.
well,
Animal
no,
loving ain't shove them in the oven.
Animal loving ain't shoving in the oven. That's a good one.
Do you care about your dogs?
I'm not ideologically inconsistent because I said that I would go kill a
You
cow.
are.
No, I'm not. I would
Yeah,
kill a cow.
yeah,
To
you
eat
are.
it.
You have
So-
selective morality.
yeah, selective morality.
Do you like your dogs? Do you care about your dogs?
Yeah, I do. I do
snuggle
like
with
my
them?
dogs.
Yeah,
But
do you
here-
take them for
but
walks? Or
Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
are your dogs your friends?
Well, here's the thing though. The relationship that we have with dogs
are, aren't
today is totally unnatural. Like we should not. It makes no
So's eating meat, bro. It's a tradition, just like not eating dogs. It's the same thing. Thank you for reaffirming our argument.
sense that we're the only species in nature that's like caring for other animals that takes the lives of other animals into consideration. So it's a completely unnatural behavior that doesn't make much
Why
sense.
do we do that? Why do we care so much for animals if we're meant to eat animals?
It's totally unnatural. We are meant to eat animals.
That's unnatural. Does it feel
Yeah,
good?
but how is it possible that we can if it's unnatural? If it's unnatural to like animals, why are we able to? It makes no sense. It's like saying it's
good
it's
when you
just-
pet your dog? What's your
Well,
dog's name?
It's it's just really funny. No, look.
So look how happy you are when you think about your dogs.
No. It's
So if
not,
eating
it's
meat's
not,
so natural, how come you're getting such joy about thinking about your dogs? And how much sadness you'd have if your dog
Look at
was
him hide.
sick or died.
I'm not happy
So
about.
look at him
I'm not.
stutter, look at him stutter, look at him hide, look at him smile. These are all defense mechanisms. He doesn't have an argue for this. He doesn't have an argument for this stuff because it's not something he talks about with his ketos. If these guys actually engaged in debate with vegans in order to actually learn something, they might know these things, but they don't. They just ad hominem because they have this tinge of guilt and they feel like they might be wrong, so they have to lash out.
I'm not happy about thinking about my dogs. I think it's hilarious that you're making the
You're lit up. You're
You're
glowing.
lying right now.
You're
Because-
blushing. You like
because-
your dogs. That's
be-
good.
be-
That's good. It's healthy, bro.
because you are making a completely absurd argument. You are saying that because I like my dog,
This argument is absolutely based in logic.
that humans are not natural carnivores, and that's a complete
Exactly.
logical fallacy.
Exactly.
It's total conditioning though.
We aren't carnivores, we're omnivores with the ability to eat meat in life or death situations, not in society today. And then especially not doubling down on the meat in society today. This dude's completely in denial.
But
That's
you
the
would
reason.
shoot a dog in the
that's-
face.
That's the
A lot
reason.
of people would.
Because I have a dog.
Food.
It's different.
That's
If I-
right, because you're conscious to that. You're like, I don't want to kill that. So if you
No,
spend
no.
enough time with
It's-
cows, you'll be like, I don't need a cow. Cows are amazing.
I don't think that's true. I don't think you can develop the same relationship.
Absolutely true. Absolutely the same relationship. Cows are just big dogs. Like, so big animals are dumb and we can eat them, but not small ones. Like, it's like, where's this logic coming from? This mental gymnastics is hilarious. I just need my meat. I don't care what you say, Harley.
A cow to it that you can't do a dog. Maybe I'm wrong, but here's my
You're
point.
19. You don't know yet.
My,
It's
my,
true,
my,
you can.
my point is that I've been conditioned, of course, to love my dogs, which I've had my whole life. And so I wouldn't want to kill another dog that resembles the thing that I've grown attached to. A cow, on the other hand,
Yes, out of tradition, you don't eat your dog, just like you eat meat out of tradition.
I view cows as food. I don't view them as friends. This is how I view them. This is how I've been trained,
Out of tradition.
ingrained to view them.
That's right.
Yes, you have.
It's not a
You've been
natural.
indoctrinated.
It's not a natural instinct to love dogs or to love cows or to love sheep. That's totally.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. When I see those things, I get very happy. My kids, My daughter, when I used to take her to the petting zoo, she would get so happy. And I'd be like, you want to eat these things, Luna? You want to eat this bunny? And she'd be like, no! So, like, where's your answer to that? You know, if you don't think you've been brainwashed.
Totally unnatural. We are supposed to view other animals as food. We can eat pretty much any animal. That's what we're meant to do. Naturally, that's what we would view them as. You can't use my context to extrapolate the natural human desires because you need to contextualize it. I'm not in a natural circumstance. I've been told, trained, programmed to love dogs when it's not a natural desire to. Does that make sense?
Really? So if humans are designed to eat meat, why, if you put a kitten and a baby, a little toddler, in a room with a mouse, the kitten would eat the mouse and the baby wouldn't? The baby might pick up the mouse and put it in its mouth and spit it out.
Here's a better question.
Here's a better question. Answer his question. Don't just change the subject.
Good question. No. Here's a better question.
This is debating 101, but Joey Schwartz.
Okay, I'll answer your question. Answer that one first. Why does the kitten eat the mouse and the human baby doesn't? If humans are carnivores, like you say, if eating meat's so natural, how come babies don't eat meat in
babies
small
don't
state
eat
like
meat?
A cat would? They eat chopped beef and in the freaking ketchup. But I'm talking about a raw animal, a mouse.
I will tell you why.
Cats eat mice.
Why not?
Why wouldn't the baby do that?
Baby should
I'll tell you why. Because babies were never hunted. The humans hunted, and they gave the raw meat or the cooked meat to the babies. If you put this is why I say this is the better question. Because a baby doesn't hunt, right?
Maasai babies.
No.
Mental gymnastics.
Maasai's hunt.
No.
Maasai babies born with spears in their hand.
I want to finish.
Like a cat does.
This is the better question, right? Because babies don't hunt, babies don't kill animals. The better question would be to put a plate of like plant matter, various plant materials, or beef, like an animal food in front of the baby, see what they prefer, see what their natural instincts lead them to. They will choose meat.
They'll go to the fruit. They'll go to the fruit 1,000 times out of 1,001 times. They'll go to the fruit. Without a doubt, this dude's delusional. He's regurgitating all his Joe Rogan groupthink statements, and he can't nuance anything because he doesn't have any nuance to anything.
Way to go about it.
Horses eat meat. If you give a steak to a horse, it'll eat the meat. But if you put a cow in the pen with horses, the horses won't eat the cow. If you put a cow in the pen with the lions will eat the cow or the horse. They'll eat it all. They're carnivores.
It's so simple, and this dude's just, no, I'm a carnivore. I have canines and sharp nails.
I've got a boost. I've got a boost because I got this appointment.
Get out of here, Harley.
I would love to follow up if you're happy to do that, because I think we flow really well here.
Smoke this kid.
Really love watching this stuff, because we're so like polar opposite, which is good, healthy, and we can respectfully agree to disagree. But I got a boost, man. That's cool.
Yeah, that was pretty hilarious. But yeah, this is very typical.
I never ever.
Very typical. Very, very, very typical. This is what I deal with on a daily basis. And, and every time I do videos with anyone, this is how, they come on and they're so confident. And it's like, no, I'm here to nuance, bro. Let's get real deep about this stuff. And most of them can't, it's the same thing. It's resorting to ad hominem. Oh, this deranged sugar drinker, like this stuff, like this dude. Yeah, it's funny to the carnivore crowd maybe, but it's really intellectually very low, bottom of the barrel. This guy's trying to say he's doing debates, but he's not doing debates. He doesn't know a debate from anything, and he's looking at a chat the whole time. So it's not even like he's coming up with the stuff. He's like another Michaela Peterson wannabe podcaster emulating somebody smart. When he's got so much lipemia from his high-fat diet, he can't even handle answering any of Harley's questions. Anyway, I'm done for the day. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace. Go vegan, motherfuckers.